wow, 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 wow.
Yeah! Hey, how about you bang them, dickless?
Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah!
Wow. 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 Wow.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday! Yo! What up, people? Happy Friday, y'all. You know what that means. Let's go! Do the Martha, do the Martha. It sounds like that's what he's saying. But is he saying that? No, probably not. All right, everybody. What's up? Happy Friday. I apologize for the late stream. It's a mixture of technical difficulties plus some other stuff I don't want to get into because it's annoying. But anyway, I am here. I'm ready. I hope you all had a wonderful week. I hope you all are enjoying your Fridays and are gearing up for a great weekend to come. What's up, Scorched? Scorched already hanging out, chiming in on the vertical stream. Appreciate you as always. Always happy to see you here. If you are watching live, always you will hear me say this, and I will not stop saying this, but if you could hit that like button, make all of us extremely happy. That would bring a huge smile to many of our faces. But yeah, hold on, I'm thirsty. That was good. That was good. That was very good. Scorch is asking if I saw him in the chat the other day. I did. I said, "What's up to you?" I said, "Hi." I only saw one chat go through though. You said hi, and then that's it. So I don't know if there was something wrong. I don't know. YouTube, that if you're speaking about the stream on Wednesday, I had so many technical difficulties on that stream. I had a lot of lag in the beginning. I had a lot of freaking like stoppage and slowdown. So I had to stop the first stream, and then I had to restream again. I lost a lot of like good viewers that were hanging out and all that. I was very annoyed, but I did see you in the chat the other day. So I hope you are doing fine since then. Score saying it was out of my Wi-Fi range, so net was ass. Ah, okay. Yeah. My net wasn't ass, it's just my stream was for some reason. I was having a lot of bottlenecking. I don't know what was going on. I think it was my fault because I switched for that day only. I switched from streaming 30 frames per second to 60. And I think my setup was just not ready to handle all that bandwidth.
I'm gonna come.
It was too manly. It was too manly. My stream was too manly for YouTube at the time. So YouTube could not handle it and just basically threw up. It's all good. It's all good. Scorch saying Deadpool Wolverine is no longer in theaters in his country. What is up with that? I don't think we ever covered this, Scorch. Where are you actually from? Where are you hailing from? That's crazy to think that. Because here it's still out and about. It's still doing really well. Oh, you're in India. Oh, okay. Gotta wait till November 18th or so, but I already saw lots. Yeah, at this point, yeah, it's I think as of the beginning of this week, everyone just didn't give a fuck anymore. And you had the stars of the movie already tweeting out and putting pictures out. You had the studio themselves re-releasing new trailers that includes all the cameos and all that stuff. So yeah, it's annoying. But at this point, if you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet, everything is going to get spoiled for you at this point. A lot of regional stuff pushes out the English. I see. Luckily, I am the maestro with predictions. So I already predicted everything accurately. Look at you. You are Nostradamus. We're gonna call you Nostradamus of the internet. You are the master predictor. So but I will say this, even though like you already know what happened, even though things were spoiled for you, it doesn't beat seeing it happening. You know, like I saw it twice in theaters. I was able to watch it when I saw it for the second time. I knew what was coming, but it's still just as enjoyable. It really is. And hearing other people's first time reacting to a lot of the stuff that happens is fantastic. So it's still worth watching for sure in theaters if you had a chance to. You weren't expecting Wesley Snipes because he's an ass. I feel like he's in a slow redemption redemption period at this time. I think he started getting back into good favor with a lot of people after he did that Dolomite movie with Eddie Murphy. Because I believe the rumor was back in the day, Ryan Reynolds and Wesley didn't get along very well when they did Blade 3. I heard that they had a very tough time working together. So it was interesting seeing them together in this movie. And they actually poked fun at that situation, you know, about them not getting along or liking each other. So at least they were able to have fun with that, you know. Scorch saying it doesn't care about spoilers. So there you go. So yeah, so I hope you get the chance to see it sometime soon, because like I said, it's still worth the watch. It's a lot of fun, that movie, at least for me. All right, so before I get into the main topic, and the main topic for today is Alien Romulus, I'll be giving my thoughts and review on this movie. I basically really have to talk about some big news that came out last night. I saw my my news feed kind of blink up with several tweets about this, and I thought this was extremely interesting because for a long time, none of us knew exactly what was going on with this whole situation. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the whole situation with Beau DeMayo, showrunner, writer, co-creator of X-Men 97. Right before season 1 of X-Men 97 came out, he was fired from Marvel for unknown reasons. And for the longest time, even as the show was debuting and was playing on Disney Plus all throughout the season, none of us knew, the public was not made aware of why Beau DeMayo was fired from the show. There were speculations and rumors going around about his online conduct, and maybe because he has an OnlyFans account, maybe that could be causing some trouble and, you know, issues with Marvel and Disney, because we all know Marvel and Disney, they love to be a clean-cut company. They like to steer away from controversy when they can. So that could be the one that's led to his firing. Beau's been pretty good with it so far. You know, he still promotes the show. But recently he's been kind of speaking up about not being invited to the Emmys because I believe X-Men 97 was nominated for something or not being recognized for certain things. And I think it was recently announced that his credit was removed from season 2. So when season 2 comes around, his credit of all the writing that he's done for season 2, because he wrote season 1, he wrote season 2, and he was in the process of writing season 3 when he got canned. So all his credit has been removed from season 2, and he kind of spoke out about that online. And I guess that's what forced Marvel's hand to finally say something about the situation. And that was the news that broke last night. What's up, Cuphead? Always happy to see you here. Alien Romulus was great film. 10 out of 10 from Cuphead. That's a high rating. We will definitely talk more about that after I go over this initial news here. So yeah, let's start talking about this, because again, like I said, this is extremely interesting and it's very juicy, very juicy. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and you can see here. Oh, hold on a second. Something looks funky. Looks funky. On. There we go. That looks better. All right. So I'm here on The Hollywood Reporter. I believe they're the one that broke the news last night. Marvel fires back over X-Men 97 creators claim he was stripped of season 2 credit, cites egregious investigation findings. How about that? So just to recap again the situation, 5 months after Marvel Studios fired X-Men 97 creator Beau DeMayo for mysterious reasons, the writer claimed on Thursday that he no longer will get credit on the second season of the hit Disney Plus show, which he completed work on before his exit. DeMayo made the claim on social media, saying it was part of a troubling pattern he endured while working for Marvel. Marvel then shot back soon after in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, gave insight into his firing, saying it occurred after an initial investigation revealed egregious findings. Ooh, egregious findings. What could that mean? That sounds very, very dubious and ominous and all those isses. But let's keep reading. Quote, above is X-Men fan art I posted on Instagram for Gay Pride in June. On June 13th, Marvel sent a letter notifying me that they'd stripped my season 2 credits due to that exact post, DeMayo wrote on X Thursday, along with an illustration of a shirtless version of himself as the superhero Cyclops. So just to give you some background information, Beau DeMayo is very proud of his body. He is not ashamed of his working out and how fit he is. On his Instagram and social media, he always posts himself in the gym. He loves posting, pictures of him posing, doing bodybuilding like poses and all that. So he's very proud of that stuff. So, hearing that he posted something like that on his social media is not surprising because he's done that already. The article continues to say that DeMayo, who spent several years at Marvel working on a draft of a long gestating Blade feature, as well as on the TV show The Moon Knight, said, sadly, this is the latest in a troubling pattern I suffered through while working on X-Men 97 and Blade. Marvel responded by saying that DeMayo's behavior has the cause of his firing and for him losing his credits. Mr. DeMayo was terminated March 2024 following an internal investigation, said a Marvel spokesperson in a statement. Given the egregious nature of the findings, we severed ties with him immediately and he has no further affiliation with Marvel. Sources say that following his exit, an agreement was reached between the two parties over the issue of tweeting about the show, something that DeMayo had continued to occasionally do. In light of the breaches, his credit for season 2 was removed. While no details of the cause of the termination or the internal reviews have surfaced, sources say it involved sexual misconduct. That is what I've been saying for this longest time. What's going on, Super Junior? Do I know famous chemistry scientist whoever that is. No, I don't. I do not. Is there a reason why I should? Let me know in the chat. But I appreciate you chiming in the chat in the vertical stream. DeMayo did not immediately return a request for comment. DeMayo was an avid social media user during his tenure at Marvel, sharing X-Men tidbits as well as shirtless pics of himself and even running a non-explicit OnlyFans account. This all led the LGBTQ plus publication out to declare him the sexy gay Marvel writer and showrunner to know. On the surface, the notion that Marvel would strip DeMayo of a credit due to a social media post would stretch credulously, as outside observers note the gay pride illustration similar to any number of posts he made while employed at Marvel. And fired Marvel executive Victoria Alonso retained credit on projects she previously worked on following her exit in 2023, but the reveal of an internal investigation points to deeper causes. Article continues to say, despite the bad press around DeMayo's firing, X-Men 97 went on to be a hit with audiences and critics, earning Marvel Studios its first perfect 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and garnering DeMayo an Emmy nom for the episode Remember It. Marvel teased Season 2 at D23, while the studio tapped Matthew Chauncey to write Season 3 following DeMayo's firing. Now, when I heard about that news, I was always wondering if they were going to keep or maintain anything that DeMayo already wrote for Season 3. So I'm just curious about that. I guess time will tell and we'll see. Until now, DeMayo has remained mostly mum on his firing from Marvel, though in recent days he did note that he had tried and failed to secure a seat at the Emmys from the studio. This is what I was alluding to earlier. Concluded DeMayo in his initial X post on Thursday, I'll have more to say soon, but must take a step back from social media to find a safer space for me to be out proud and nerdy. Stay tuned. The article continues to say, but after the initial publication of this article, he reacted to Marvel's statement, writing, the truth will be revealed after the Disney Plus disaster. Marvel wants to mislead with alleged contract breaches over tweets. It's tragic it's come to this, but unsurprising. Stay tuned, end quote. And on Friday, veteran attorney Brian Friedman revealed he had taken on DeMayo as a client, and in a statement to THR said in part, quote, having much experience with Disney, the playbooks is always the same. Family friendly on the outside, but secretly attempting to plant illegal, unconscionable items in contracts that silence the truth and stop the employee/customer from asserting basic constitutional rights, as we will explain through detailed examples, which we will roll out in detail one by one. Disney's model is very clear and a repetitive legal pattern, end quote. Wow, that's crazy. All right, so this is the post, I guess, DeMayo was in trouble for and all that stuff. We don't see the picture exactly. It looks like it's just a drawing of him as Cyclops, but a shirtless version. That's what it looks like here. I can't really click on this, can I? Let's see. Is it still on Twitter? Oh, here it is. Yeah, so I don't know. This is pretty harmless to me. If you really think about it. It's a nice drawing too, I have to say. But this is what's caused and started this whole whirlwind of nuttiness last night with everything. Superior Jr. saying, who do I think should play Ghost Rider? Ryan Gosling or Keanu Reeves? I think Ghost Rider, Keanu is probably too old. I think Ryan Gosling, no, not really a good fit. It would have to be somebody new and upcoming, honestly. It really has to be that. I can't think of somebody right now, but I'm wondering what you would think. Also, they say that I think Peter Parker will die in Secret Wars. Miles Morales will be the new Spider-Man for the new phases. Could be. I mean, I could see that happening because they've been trying to get Miles, I think, into live action eventually someday. Tom Holland can't play Peter Parker for too long, even though how much he'll try. So I could see that potentially happening, or doing just another kind of multiverse thing. Who knows? We'll see. But you know, we'll see. It's always fun to speculate. Cuphead saying Disney is down full, making lots of mistakes, firing people, and too much money. I don't disagree with that. Scorch saying, Renee, it's of bro, context is key. It's like if he posted that to the hub, Sure, it's just lewd, but that's just a corny ass site. Well, there's more to this. There's more to this. And, you know, like I always say, you know, we only get to know a smidgen, a small part of the overall story here. Now, of course, we're hearing a lot from Beau DeMayo's side, and we're getting a lot of corporate speak from Marvel's side, right? So once this all came about, I was curious as to what the how can I call them? Those guys who love spreading rumors or leaks out of conversations from other studios is, right? I follow one in particular, and his name is Jeff Snyder. I've known Jeff Snyder for a very long time. He started off as a movie critic, and then he became a scoops guy. He's a guy who like goes out there and grabs scoops. He hears rumors, he talks to certain people in the business, certain people in connection with certain storylines, and he puts the news out there. So he wrote this whole article in his newsletter last night that was kind of released this morning, I believe, after he had several conversations after what he says the cat was out of the bag. So he reached out to several individuals about this matter, and he provided more details and more information. Now, you have to be a subscriber to his newsletter to read it, but of course, it's the internet. So somebody copy and pasted it online. So I'm going to go ahead and read it here. And let's see what Jeff knows more about the inner details of what's happening there with this situation. But before I do that, Super says, I have a theory that this Robert Downey Jr. Doom is a Tony from the universe in which he survived after the snap. Yeah, I've been speculating ever since that news came out that, and I said this on stream before, that this is not our, you know, this is not going to be the main Doom. This is going to be an alternate reality Doom or one of the Doom clones. I think what will happen in Doomsday is that we will see this reveal. It's going to cause conflict and strife because Tom Holland is probably going to be in this movie. He's going to see his mentor there as the bad guy. Everyone else is going to see this guy as a bad guy. And it is going to cause a lot of problems and conflicts, inner turmoil. And that's going to be the main issue as to why a lot of these things are going to start happening. I think in a future movie, maybe the next Avengers movie or something like that, we'll get the reveal of the real Doom and how this Doom is probably in cahoots with all of these other alternate reality Dooms, very similar to like the Kang stuff that they were trying to do with all the alternate versions of Kang. I think they're redoing that now with a Doom storyline, which is believable because Doom is known for creating clones of himself, creating Doom bots and things like that. So I think that's really what's going to be happening here. Cuphead saying the picture looks like a Cyclops suit from an X-Men dirty film. It looks like fan fiction. That's what the image looks like. And it's not like he drew it himself. I'm sure a fan drew it for him, sent it to him, and he was very happy for it. And he posted it. You know, he's like, hey, you know, I have fond memories of working on X-Men 97. I'm proud to be nominated for an Emmy for one of the episodes. I wish I could go to the Emmys, but I can't seem to get a seat. So I'm sure that was all part of the tweet. And then, of course, all of this stuff started happening. Super is saying because there's no way Avengers lost all the 14 million outcomes except for one guess. Doctor Strange wanted in which Tony Stark will die, the Thanos, because Doctor Strange knows that he would. Also said, be threat to humanity, just like it make Ultron to make a shield around the world. This time he will do something like that and become Doom. I mean, I like what you're saying. I do think that there is really just the one outcome. I just think that this is just another, this is something definitely another alternate universe type of situation. Who knows? I don't know. It could be that maybe this was one universe that Tony Stark just never became Iron Man, or he never associated himself with the Avengers, right? So since if that's the case, there would have never been a one-to-one confrontation with Thanos, right? Because he would not have been part of the Avengers. So, you know, I don't think Doctor Strange would have looked into that possibility because they're not in that situation, right? So, yeah, it could be a lot of different things like that. All right, let me start reading this article here. I'm going to try to make this bigger so that you could see it, but I don't think Yeah, it doesn't work like that here on Twitter. So I do apologize, but I'm going to read the important parts so that, yeah, hopefully you can follow along. So the main first part of this article basically recaps everything that happened, everything that transpired all the way to last night's crazy news cycle of all of the stuff that's happening. So what Jeff says here later on in this portion of the article is, with the cat now officially out of the bag, I'm going to share what I've heard from various sources over the past few months. I'm told DeMayo sent nude photos of himself, or at the very least, photos of himself in various states of undress, to several young male staffers. This is staffers over at Marvel. Some of these photos allegedly feature DeMayo wearing superhero costumes and striking sexually suggestive hero poses that could be used as inspiration for the show. DeMayo was asked to stop sending such photos, but I'm told that he persisted nonetheless. Quote, if you were a guy who looked like they could be under 30 on that show, meaning X-Men 97, you have his nudes whether you wanted them or not, end quote. Additionally, I was told that DeMayo allegedly groped an assistant on multiple occasions and that he was both emotionally and physically abusive to staffers, though I don't have any specific incidents to share on that front. So it was also rumored during the same time that Beau was fired. Yes, he has an OnlyFans. Yes, he's very proud of his body, posting stuff on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. But there were certain rumblings and rumors out there about him being very difficult to work with. So this could be some things alluding to that type of behavior here. Jeff continues to go on saying, but there's more to this story, as I've also heard that DeMayo was let go from Netflix's The Witcher due to similarly troubling behavior. My sources said that DeMayo's subsequent hiring at Marvel reflects poorly on Marvel's Brad Winderbaum, who failed to do his due diligence regarding DeMayo's departure from The Witcher. They went on to absolve Marvel's Kevin Feige from the blame, as Feige isn't as hands-on in terms of hiring people for the studio's animated projects, for which he mainly gives notes on different cuts. Speaking of cuts, I'm told that Marvel is taking away DeMayo's EP credit on Season 2 of X-Men 97, but that they can't take away any specific writing credit, even though the studio is in the process of rewriting most of Season 2. DeMayo said that Marvel's decision to remove his executive producer credit, that's what EP stands for, was, quote, the latest in a troubling pattern I suffered through while working on X-Men 97 and Blade, end quote. That was something that I read about earlier that he posted on social media. Jeff continues to say, indeed, DeMayo was once one of Marvel's star scribes, having also worked on Moon Knight and spent years developing a draft of Blade. But he also frequently shared shirtless photos of himself on social media and even ran a non-explicit OnlyFans account during his time at Marvel. This is stuff that we already knew. This is stuff that already came out there. Jeff repeats what THR notes in their article. Jeff also says, meanwhile, one of Marvel's fans pointed out to Twitter DeMayo's own timeline doesn't seem to make sense, as he was fired in March, though he pointed to a post from this past June as the reason that his credit is now being stripped. That post have been breached whatever social media agreement he had with Marvel, prompting the loss of the EP credit, but it doesn't explain why he was fired 3 months earlier. My speculation on this is that if he was getting in trouble for sharing shirtless photos of him dressed up in like superhero outfits or doing superhero poses, part of probably their deal of letting him go and keeping his writing credit and all that stuff was for him not to post that same type of stuff online that will tie it back to the Marvel properties, right? So I'm thinking, even though it's not him and it's a drawing of him, they thought and saw this as a breach of contract. That's just my speculation of it. I'm no lawyer. There's a reason why I never took up law in high school and college. There's a reason for that. There's too much reading and too much studying. I can't have it. The article, Jeff's article continues to just repeat a lot of stuff the THR article says. Let's see. DeMayo was given 12 hours to respond to the allegations in this piece, and neither he nor Marvel returned a request for comment late on Thursday night. Jeff is talking about this exact article that he's posted here in his newsletter. Let's see. He's saying that DeMayo did reply to THR's article online, saying, quote, "This is Disney, Marvel's usual playbook. Legal letters as well as other items to prove their long-standing pattern to follow," end quote. And then blah, blah, blah. That sounds like a plan to me, for it sounds like... So what's going to result out of all this? It's the same situation. And Scorched, I saw your comment. I'll read that in a little bit. It's the same situation Gina Carano finds herself in with Marvel. And what not, sorry, not with Marvel, with Disney and Lucasfilm. That they do these things in a very quick and hasty pattern, right? In Gina Carano's case, it was because of a lot of things that she would say on social media that kind of put a negative light to her, and she's associated with a major character in The Mandalorian. So Disney and Lucasfilm decide to take action and fire her, right? In this case, this seems a little bit more serious when you have somebody that is harassing staff members. I don't know if there's any accusations or possibilities about sexual abuse here. You know, it just sounds like that this guy was annoying to work with. He would probably talk badly to other staffers, right? I don't know about the groping situation. That does sound really bad in my opinion. But it's also harassment when you send photos of yourself that are unwarranted, that no one asked for. Anyone who's worked in a corporate job has had to take one of those sexual harassment courses where you watch a series of videos of things you're not supposed to do. And one of the things they highlight is you're not supposed to go out there and send photos of yourself to women who don't want them. And in this case, he's probably sending it to guys because, you know, he does represent himself as gay. And that's a big no-no in any corporate environment, right? So just like the Gina Carano situation, Beau DeMayo has taken up legal counsel, and I'm pretty sure we're going to hear more information about some sort of lawsuit that's going to hit Marvel and Disney about all of this stuff. So it is what it is. You know, but it's just interesting news regardless, especially, unfortunately, since it is a time when X-Men 97 should be celebrated for such a wonderful show it is. It is unfortunately attached to this type of drama. What's going on, Clone Wars for Life? Saying hi and bye, like and subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you're doing well. I believe you're still off from your tournament circuits, right? So hopefully you are having some time to relax and enjoy. Scorch saying, I feel like you can't post on porn sites no matter how innocent the post. Scorch saying, it's like someone who works for Coco Melon having a Pornhub account where they publicly post lewd drawings of Coco Melon characters. Right. Cuphead saying, I'm happy I don't... ooh, where did that go? Wow, that's so weird. Comment saying, I'm happy I don't have to buy Alien Romulus on 4K Ultra HD CD because it will be on Disney Plus in 4 months. Well, there you go. Scorch saying, Summer Rae doesn't have OnlyFans for the same reason. Her Insta is pics of her ass, but it's not a pornography site. I don't know who Summer Rae is, but another good example of this, but she's not currently attached to any major property or major studio at the moment. The girl from Sopranos. I believe she was also on Sons of Anarchy. There's this actress who, to help support herself and her family, she created an OnlyFans where she just dresses up in like bikinis and lingerie and things like that. And that hit the news like several months ago about that situation because she's pretty much broke. She's not making any money right now. So she took upon to create an OnlyFans account, and that has been able to fully support herself and her family. So it is what it is. You know, my only comment about this, and I've said this before, is that if you are working for a big company like Disney, right, they are going to be very aware of your activities outside of work, because they need to have a very clean, brand safe name to themselves. And that goes for anyone that's attached to them. Even if you're just working for Marvel, or if you're working for Fox, or you're working for Lucasfilm, it's all Disney. Disney is the parent company, right? So you have to be, at least on social media, at your best behavior. Look what happened with Letitia Wright. She could have easily been fired as well, but you know, she was lucky enough that they never did that. It never went that far. But she was like a big anti-vaxxer. She kept like, you know, putting out theories out there and all this stuff like that. So in this situation, it sucks, but it does sound like there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that warranted a lot of the conduct or the way that Marvel had to handle the situation. It's a lot of hearsay though at the same time. So I'm sure more will come out, but we'll see what happens. I think OnlyFans eventually became a porn site. I wouldn't say it's a porn site straight up. But because there's a lot of people who don't do porn who are on OnlyFans. You know, OnlyFans, I think, was created as an alternative method of having influencers make money. But of course, those who gravitated towards it immediately were those who are in the porn business or into the softcore stuff, right? Like, you know, like Amaranth does simulated stuff on there, you know, and she's a very popular Twitch streamer. So yeah, it is what it is. I don't know, Summer Rae. I'm sorry. Summer Rae's Christian. She sees nothing wrong with posting ass pics on Insta because one could argue it's workout inspired, whereas OnlyFans is for gooning only. I don't agree with that. I agree, but public prescription is another beast. Perception. Sorry, I think that's what you meant. That's why they wanted to ban porn. I remember. Yeah, I mean, look, you always have those people that gravitate towards these places that kind of ruins it for everybody, or changes public perception of something. So that's definitely what happened with OnlyFans. And for all we know, that could be exactly what's happening to Beau DeMayo here as well, you know. So it's I'm sure there's more to come. I'm sure this is not going to be the last of it. But it is very interesting nonetheless to hear all of this stuff happening. But as in the way I look at it too, is season 1 was such a great season of the show, X-Men 97. It was so good that I just hope it doesn't affect the quality of future seasons to come, because I think that will be like the biggest downside of all of this. Like, us who are fans of this show cannot, we can't suffer and be penalized because of activities from certain individuals who are part of certain things, right? So we'll see what happens, you know. But I'm sure, like I said, there will be more stuff to come. And this is going to be in the news cycle for the upcoming days for sure. And we'll hear more about this stuff. Yes, we don't deserve to be penalized.
How much is big, dumb dickless? I'm gonna come.
Scorch, I appreciate that you like that. Cuphead, Emma Frost is a Marvel character that would be good on OnlyFans because of her outfits. Oh, for sure. For sure. Not only Emma Frost, but Jean Grey's clone, the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor. My God, when that episode aired with her as Madeline Pryor for the first time, with that black outfit, I paused for a minute. I was like, whoa. It's like, this show just got super sexy right now. And I know she's animated. Like, hot damn. You know, and this whole season, and I guess it kind of speaks to Beau DeMayo's personality and all that, was very sexy. It was a very sexy season. There was a lot of relationships, a lot of sexual innuendos. There was a lot of that stuff. So, you know, Is season 2 going to be as sexy? One can hope. They could have gone sexier, but I think at that point you're going to be breaching a little bit too much more into the adult crowd. They still want to adhere and appeal to younger crowds, so you can't go too sexy. But I'm sure if Beau DeMayo had his way, sexier the better. Sexier the better. Goblin Queen in the comments is super hot. She is drawn very nice, especially when you have someone like Jim Lee at the helm of things. Good stuff. What show? I just joined, a bit confused. Gorilla, I'm talking about X-Men 97. So there is more information and news that dropped from Beau DeMayo's side and from Marvel's side about his firing from the show before season 1 came out. So I just talked about the article that was released last night, a follow-up article from a scooper that has more information on what could have happened behind the scenes. Potential sexual misconduct is the main cause of his firing and all that. So a lot of drama. So I was reviewing a lot of that stuff. But awesome to see you back. Always happy to see you here on the streams. Score saying, I feel like ScarJo and Brie Larson are still the Goon Queens. The women he likes, also the women of Daredevil too. Yeah. Well, it sucks because Scarlet, her character is dead now, but that doesn't mean she can't come back. Brie Larson is very underrated as far as her looks and her acting. A lot of people give her crap. I don't know why, but she's such a great actress too. But she is also very, very pretty. Also, don't count out Florence Pugh now. Florence Pugh, she has definitely something going for her. And I guess technically Aubrey Plaza. Oh, I'll die by the hill of Aubrey Plaza all day, every day. I'm so happy to see her in Marvel with Agatha all along. Aubrey is awesome. Gorilla saying, does it have anything to do with the new Fortnite season having some of these characters? He also said, happy to be here, by the way. Well, I'm glad you're happy to be here. No, it has nothing to do with Fortnite. It all resulted in the fact that Beau DeMayo posted, I guess somebody drew a picture of him as a shirtless Cyclops. And he was very proud of it. And he posted it on social media, right? And he also mentioned that he was happy that he got an Emmy nomination for one of the episodes of X-Men 97, but he can't get a seat at the Emmys, right? Because he's fired, right? So he started that. And then I think that's when Marvel announced that they were removing his executive producer credit on season 2 of the show. And that's what started this whole back and forth. And then that's when the Hollywood Reporter put out this article because they spoke to someone from Marvel who explained more details about it. So it's just this crazy, crazy stuff. I also don't play Fortnite, but I'm jealous because that is a game I wish I did play because I love all the little collaborations they have with Marvel, Disney, other movie studios. It's so great. Man is a Florence Pugh fan, but I wouldn't say I'm a fanboy. I just recognize things. I recognize beauty when I see it. Brie Larson is a mega babe. Angie is mommy AF back in the day. Selma Hayek, absolutely. Fortnite Marvel Battle Pass, are you planning on live streaming? I don't play Fortnite, Cuphead. I wish I did. Or maybe I could do a stream where I jump into Fortnite for the first time. I don't know. If you're interested in that, let me know. Stefan Stern, what's going on? Happy all around. Let's go. All right. Who's ready to talk about Alien Romulus? I'm ready. I think Cuphead is ready. Cuphead seems to really love this movie. I don't blame him. So we'll talk about that in a minute or two. Just hold on. Let me get some stuff ready here. As I organize my shit. No spoilers yet, Gorilla Fantasy. I'm gonna talk 10. The hell's wrong with me? 10 to 20 minutes. I guess that's my shortcut for 20 minutes. 10. I'm going to talk 10 to 20 minutes just of my overall thoughts and feeling about the movie. No spoilers, I promise you. After the 20-minute mark, I will put the tag up on the stream that says spoilers, and then I'll go into kind of like my recap of the movie itself. So you're safe for now. Also, that is a cue for all of you guys in the chat too who may have already seen the movie. Please, no spoilers in the chat until it's safe to do so. Let's respect those who haven't had a chance to see it yet. All right, just organizing some stuff here. Yeah, Cuphead. And that's not really a spoiler there, but yeah, when you watch Alien Romulus, definitely pay attention because there are some nice callbacks to previous Alien movies, which I think was a nice touch. Yeah, so let's get into this now. So we're here, we're talking about Alien Romulus. And as you could see, the subheading of the tag here is that Fede Alvarez, he understood the assignment for this one. You know, Fede Alvarez is a very interesting director because many of you may know him from doing his version of Evil Dead, which was a more gory, gruesome take on the very popular Evil Dead movie franchise, which I actually pretty much enjoyed. I thought it was pretty good. I also found it interesting that if you look at a lot of his recent films or the films that he's very known for, he always loves having a main female protagonist. In Evil Dead, there was a main female who ended up becoming the hero of the movie, right? In what was it, Don't Speak, there was also a very strong female lead in that movie. Is it Don't Speak? No, I'm sorry, Lights Out. What am I talking about? I'm freaking losing my mind today, guys. What's happening? Hold on. Let me just pull this up. Don't Breathe. I'm naming all of these freaking things, and it's none of them. What the hell is wrong with me? I'm so sorry. My mind is super scrambled today. But, okay, let's rewind. All right, Fede Alvarez. So, Evil Dead had a main female protagonist at the end. Don't Breathe. Same situation, right? Well, especially like in both movies, because he did Don't Breathe and Don't Breathe 2, I believe, right? I believe he directed the second one too. Oh no, he didn't, but I think he may have wrote it. He directed by Rodo Sayaguez. Well, I think that's how you pronounce his name. But Don't Breathe, yeah. So he loves having female protagonists in his movies. Alien Romulus, obviously, if you've seen the trailers, you'll see that Kaylee Spaney, who has had a very interesting career in the last couple of years, she has attached herself to a lot of really fascinating roles. And she's one of those like Hollywood actresses that I feel kind of came out of nowhere, you know, and now she's almost everywhere. If you pay enough attention, you notice that she's popped up quite a bit in a lot of things. I first was made aware of her when she did the movie Priscilla, directed by Sofia Coppola at the end of last year. Then this year, she was in the movie Civil War, right? Both times, I thought she was fantastic in these roles. I believe she also voiced a character in If, I think it was, or something like that. I don't know. But she's popped up in a lot of these things. And then when I found out she was also an Alien Romulus, I was like, wow, she is having a huge role in her career right now, and good for her. But yeah, as you could see, and yes, Cuphead, thank you for reminding me, she was also in Pacific Rim. You know, so she's having quite a role in the last year and a half, I would say. And as you've seen in the trailer, she is definitely like the main protagonist in this. And the combination of Fede Alvarez, you could see that he is using a lot of influence from the first two Alien movies. He worked very closely with Ridley Scott on a lot of these things. This is why Ridley Scott's production company helped produce this movie, helped put together this movie. You mix that with Kaylee Spaney's acting, and it led to a very fun and entertaining movie from beginning to end. Now, I know there's a lot of discourse online about the third act. We'll talk about that more in the spoiler section. I will say that it was a choice. It was definitely a choice. But it didn't deter my feelings overall about the whole movie. When I say that Fede Alvarez sat down and paid homage to the first two movies, this movie felt like a combination of Alien and Aliens. It really did. It had a lot of great, very spooky, scary, creepy moments where there's no sound. You have to give kudos to the sound design for this movie, especially when you watch it in the theater, because even when the movie opens up, it's all silence because you're in space. You know, the whole thing, in space, no one can hear you scream. So there are a lot of moments where it's dead silent. Your characters are moving about in corridors and all that stuff like that. You have pending threats around you. A lot of great sound design here. So, and it reminded me a lot of the first Alien movie, because if you really think about it, at the end of the day, the first Alien movie is a horror film. It was very horror filled and a lot of suspense as each crew member is getting picked off by this one alien in the ship, right? Then you had a lot of moments of full blown out action sequences. You've seen it in the trailer. There's a moment where a bunch of these face huggers are running around and chasing them and all this stuff. You have that and then some in this movie. So it is also a nice tribute and homage to Aliens, the James Cameron directed Aliens movie, where that was like a full-blown sci-fi epic action fest, right? And you had like little throwbacks to like the Colonel Marines and the weaponry and all these things. And Kaylee Spaney, to her credit, is very much like a modern day embodiment of Sigourney Weaver's character from the Alien franchise. And I think she did a really fantastic job in this movie. I really do. I think she was like the main standout here. Her and her co-actor, David Johnson, who plays Andy. And I'm not going to reveal anything about Andy right now, but Andy, the character Andy, is a fantastic character and very intriguing character. He's one of those characters. Now, if you remember, like in the previous Aliens movies, there's always that one character you don't know if they're going to go good or bad, or they could ride that fine line in between them. He definitely at one point played this, and he played it so perfectly well. The chemistry that Kaylee and David had in their characters in this movie is fantastic. It really is. Sound design was great. The usage of practical effects over CG, brilliantly done. You could see it and you could feel it too. Like everything felt believable. It really did. And just, I think Fede did a really good job. Now, I guess the criticism a lot of people will give this movie is that it just feels like a rehash of these two movies, right? You could think that, but honestly, I'm perfectly fine with that. You know, I'm perfectly fine with finally getting an Alien movie that has everything that worked in the past all together. You know, you had the horror effect, you had the suspense, you had the thrilling effect, you have great action sequences, right? Thrilling action sequences. You do have some great characters here. And even though you're introduced to a small crew, you do kind of understand and you get behind a lot of their different personalities, and you kind of get to like relate with them a little bit. So you do find yourself rooting for certain individuals at the end of this movie. That is what any good story does for you, right? And this definitely achieves that. Now, the ending, the third act, again, no spoilers just yet, in a way is very much a rehash of endings that we've seen before, but done in a different spin. But that is very much in the whole context and feeling and tone of the Alien movies that we all grew up loving, right? So yeah, very much like how we've seen other directors take on franchises and they do their own homage to previous iterations. This is indeed an homage to the Ridley Scott Alien and James Cameron Aliens. But Fede, I think, in my opinion, did enough to make things a little different and definitely put his own signature on this franchise. And I understand now why Ridley Scott was so bullish on him doing this, because Fede understood the assignment. at the end of the day, he understood the assignment. Now, Cuphead in the chat gave this movie a 10 out of 10. I give this a 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. I will heart this. I haven't logged in my review yet, but this is definitely a fun, entertaining, sci-fi thriller, action thriller that we haven't gotten in the Alien franchise in a very long time. Because I don't know about you out there, you know, or people watching live right now. I understand what they were trying to do with Prometheus. I understood what they were trying to do with Covenant. Well, I understood as much as I could, but it just wasn't for me. It wasn't, those Alien movies were just not for me. I never understood why they would go so far back to tell a story of these creators, these beings, that the aliens kind of evolved, that they kind of evolved into the aliens and the xenomorphs that we know now, right? But I will say this, watching all of those movies, the Ridley Scott ones in particular, does have a payoff in this movie. So all that stuff is not ignored. This is not trying to rewrite canon or rewrite alien lore. It does play off of a lot of that stuff. So again, you got to give kudos to Fede Alvarez for that too, you know. So yeah, I very much enjoyed it. I really appreciated this movie. There are certain things that they did in this movie that I'm glad they did. It gave more context of situations that we were kind of made aware of in previous films. Like Cuphead said in the chat, there are some great Easter eggs and throwbacks in this movie that the diehard Alien fans would really love and appreciate. So it's a lot of good stuff here. I think it has enough to keep the Alien super fan very pleased and excited. If you're a casual fan, I don't know. I feel like mileage may vary in that case. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I always try to give movies a chance. This movie was getting such hate online in the last couple of days because of that third act. And I get it. When it happened, even in my seat, and the couple that's like 2 seats away from me, they were just like, whoa. And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's a choice. That's it. That's absolutely a choice, you know? But for what they were trying to go for what Fede was trying to put out there, it worked for me. It did. It was weird, but it worked. Like I said, it didn't hamper the overall feeling of the movie for me. So 4 out of 5 stars for me. So yeah. Let me catch up with the chat real quick here on the vertical stream. Cuphead saying Alien Romulus, the main girl actor, is from Pacific Rim. Yeah, I saw that. Gorilla Fantasy, facehuggers are scarier than Xenomorph. Absolutely. Especially since they could just hide anywhere and they're super fast. Yeah. And you get your share of not just 1 or 2 facehuggers in this. As you saw in the trailer, there's like an army of them. Cuphead saying David Johnson, actor in Alien Romulus, is from Power Rangers film. Oh, I didn't know that. Outside of Kaylee Spaney, oh, and Isabella Merced, who's also in this, and she was also really good in this movie, albeit very small role. I'm not familiar with any other actor in this film, so I'm glad to hear that that this person is someone that you're familiar with. Gorilla saying nice FCG. Yeah, the over usage of CG is getting a little tired, in my opinion. And that's why I love that they used a lot of practical effects in this. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't any CG done in here, but whatever CG they did use was masked very well, that it didn't feel like I was watching just green screen madness. The sets that were here are all built sets, and you could totally tell that. You could totally feel it. You know, even, and this is not really a spoiler. Again, this is something you may have seen in the trailers. The colony that you are introduced to, it feels like an actual real colony. You know, it's just they put a lot of work and they reused a lot of the technology that we're familiar with. You know, it's like the dated technology that it's so weird that they would show up in the future and all that, right? So I love that look and feel of it all. It's so good. Cuphead said Andy character is from Power Rangers film he played the Blue Ranger. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. He's great like David Johnson was fantastic in this movie. I thought he did a really good job. Him and Kaylee Spaney, definitely major standouts of the film. I will also say this, because I think a lot of people I saw were kind of confused as to the timeline of this movie, right? Is this a sequel? Is this a prequel sequel? Is this a sequel prequel? Right? I'll just say this, and they don't necessarily flat out throw this in your face. If you pay close enough attention, you can kind of put this together. So the time between Alien and Aliens was like over 50 years, right? If you remember, at the end of Alien, Sigourney Weaver's character goes into chronosleep, gets lost in space, gets found by the Colonel Marines, brought back to Weyland Watani, right? And she had a son, or she had a daughter or something like that, who passed away. And they mentioned that I think 50 plus years has passed. What they did in this movie, when certain things were revealed, they mentioned that from that incident on the Nostromo, it's 2 decades later. So it takes place 20 years after the first movie. And whatever, do the math, certain amount of years before Aliens. So this falls in between the first Alien movie and the Aliens movie. So if you guys were wondering about the timeline, that's where this movie sits into the overall Alien timeline. You know, and I thought they played on that very well, because you could see the precursor of what is to come in the next Aliens movie. So it would be really interesting to sit down one day when this is available to watch at home and watch all 4, I guess, at this point, you know, with Alien 3, all in kind of lore chronological order, right? So Alien Romulus, then Aliens, and then Alien 3, or Alien to the third power, right? Because that's kind of like how they marketed Alien. But what's going on, Gansito? What are my thoughts on new discovery about gay dinosaurs? Does it matter? By the way, I think Jurassic Park already kind of put it out there that with their kind of reptilian DNA, because they used amphibian DNA, it's been known that in certain areas of where amphibians, where their communities are, that they have the ability to change their sexes based on the needs of the community and the colonies, right? In the needs of reproduction. So that's why, even though the original thought was that all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were female, they found a way to mate and create eggs, right? So they have the ability to change sexes, right? So it doesn't matter if dinosaurs are gay. How would you even know that? You know, did someone create a time machine and go back in time and test this theory out? So who cares? But I appreciate the comment. Vishal, what's going on? I'm glad you love my videos. I hope you're true in saying that, and you're not going to be pitching me some sort of thumbnail creator or SEO optimization business that you're trying to run, because that seems to always happen to me. If Scorch is here, he would know, because we love talking about upgrades. Yeah, especially the latest Moon Knight upgrade. Vishal, I hope you know I'm just joking around. But I'm glad you like the content. I really do. And for anyone else watching, if you like the content, then you definitely, please hit that like button. Everyone here would greatly appreciate it. 1000%. Cuphead saying, Prometheus, you gotta watch before Alien Romulus. Yeah, like I mentioned before, there is a payoff to understanding everything that happened in Prometheus. Even Covenant, to a certain extent. There is a certain payoff in watching those films. when you watch Alien Romulus, for sure. So I'm curious. Out of I think it will be nice too if later on I do a ranking of all the Alien movies. But if I do a ranking, should I be including the Alien versus Predator movies? Should I? Let me know in the chat. Also, let me know in the chat in the comments if Alien Romulus is a movie you're looking forward to watching either this weekend, excuse me, or the upcoming weeks.
You blew it!
I definitely blew it out of my mouth. Vishal said yes. Yes to checking out the movie. While I wait for other people to chime in, I'm going to pull up my tier maker because I think that would be fun if we kind of did like a tier listing of the Alien movies. The Alien Romulus Cup, did I buy it? I was tempted. I was very tempted because my go-to theater is Regal, and they had the Alien canister that lights up with the face hugger outside of it. And I was extremely tempted. That thing is big. It's like this big. I was very tempted, but I just couldn't find myself spending another $35 on a popcorn tin. I said to myself that if it's still there in a week or two, or if there's a way I could find it through the Regal website online, then maybe I'll buy it. Maybe. Michelle said Alien Romulus. Well, I hope you like it when you do see it, because I think it is a movie that if you're a fan of the past movies, you will definitely appreciate this movie for sure. All right, I want to see. Okay, so this tier list has, let's see, Prometheus, Alien versus Predator, 1 and 2, Aliens, Alien to the Third Power, Alien Resurrection, which is the third movie, and it does not have. Okay, I like this list. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add Alien Romulus in it. Oh, I already have that image. So here, I should be able to add. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to add images. Bear with me as I work on this. Speak amongst yourselves for now. Before we go into spoiler territory, we are going to go into spoiler territory as we talk about some of the stuff that transpired in this movie.
I'm gonna come. Hey, how about you bang them, dickless?
All right. So I'll leave it up to you guys. Should I go through my tier list of the Alien movies now? Or should I talk spoilers on Alien Romulus? Let me know. Also, let's do a poll. Start a poll. This will be fun. It'll allow people to engage a little bit more with the stream. Very easy poll. Again, be careful with my poll. Let's start a poll in the chat. I do that here? Come on, vertical stream, work with me now. There we go. All right, so there is a poll now in the chat. Simple question. Are you planning on watching Alien Romulus? Yes or no? I would love to hear from all of you. I already know some people chimed in and said yes. What's going on, Avinash? Which is my favorite so far? My favorite Alien movie out of all of them will always be Alien, the first one. Because I love the idea of it being more of a horror film. Now, any time of the week, if you ask me that question, I may also say Aliens, the second movie. Because I do love the whole sci-fi action feel of that movie. You know, I love the Colonel Marines. I love the weapons they use. I love the look and feel of it, the tone. I love how it's just full-on alien warfare. It's so much fun and so entertaining. But there is something special about the slow pacing, the thrilling, suspense-filled alien movie that came before it. And it's just one alien that's wreaking havoc all around. There's just something so special about that. So I would definitely say Alien is my all-time favorite, but any day of the week, I may say Aliens also. So what about you? What about everyone else? Everyone else, let me know what is your favorite. Let us know what your favorite Alien movie is in the Alien franchise. Not just any Alien movie, because there are so many movies about aliens out there. We're talking about the Alien franchise. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. All right. So, you know what? Just so we don't spoil anything for anyone just yet, let's go into the tier stuff. I feel like the tier stuff would be fun. What do you say? What do y'all say? Let's have some fun. Let's do a tier ranking. Let's do a tier ranking of the Alien movies. And again, this is just me ranking the Alien movies myself. Avanish says that was my favorite too, but I just... Sorry, the chat is like blocked. There's something here blocking. I just blew up when they merged Alien versus Predator. Oh yeah, when they merged the two universes together. There is something very special about that, you know. And I can understand why a lot of people would have been really excited about that. I thought it was cool. You know, they hinted on it in the past. We've seen that type of story like in the comic books and all that, which is great. But I never thought I would actually see a movie like that being made. So that was special. That was definitely special. I wouldn't say they're like the best movies, but it is nice fan service stuff that I think was, you know, hokey fun to watch movie wise. All right. You know? All right. So like I said before, top tier for me is the first Alien movie. Like I mentioned before, there's something so great about the slow pace, the huge surprises, the suspense, the horror. It's this one alien that everyone is trying to capture or kill, and it's wreaking havoc all throughout the ship. It's our introduction to Sigourney Weaver being the badass that she can be, you know? And I love everything about this movie. And of course, you have to say it like this. If it wasn't for this movie, we wouldn't have gotten this entire franchise. And I don't think a lot of people were expecting it to become such a franchise that it is like today, right? So there's definitely a major kudos to the first Alien movies. It is an S-tier movie, as is the second. Aliens took that concept of what was established in the first movie and turned it into this mega ultra blockbuster sci-fi adventure epic movie. It's just, and then after this movie, you've seen other sci-fi adventure movies take a lot of cues from what was established in this movie. And it's James Cameron. You know, James Cameron made a name for himself because of the Terminator movie and then Terminator 2. But Aliens, for a lot of people, is what brought them to the Alien franchise as a whole. Great action sequences. Like I said, I love every character of the Colonial Marines. I love Bill Paxton's character in this. A lot of famous lines that everyone can recite and everyone is familiar with, right? Paul Reiser being that very skeevy, shady corporate man. Love that. Love all of that. The actor who played Bishop. A lot of memorable moments here. And what makes this movie even better is if you ever have a chance to watch like the uncut director's cut of the film with all the added scenes in there, it made the movie even more enjoyable, which is crazy. And I know a lot of people may say that they were annoyed with the whole Newt character, but you know, it is what it is. The whole, you know, lone cub and wolf kind of situation. It's not the first time we've seen situations like that. In recent years, yeah, we're seeing a lot of that stuff with Mandalorian and Grogu and, you know, stuff like Star Wars Bad Batch where you have Omega in there. So we've seen this used time and time again, but this was the first one, at least in American cinema at the time, that we saw this type of dynamic work and work really well. Just everything was going so well for this. And plus the volume of aliens that these people were up against. You went from one alien wreaking havoc to just a plethora of aliens and face huggers and the mega queen alien at the end of the movie. What an epic ending to this too, where in both movies you have such epic endings, right? And it's always Sigourney Weaver being the badass that she is. The first one, you know, the aliens escaped on the escape ship with her. She had to use her Gatling gun to shoot it out into space. And in this one, she goes toe-to-toe with the Queen Mother alien, you know, in her little exosuit construction thingy. Stay away from her, you bitch. You know, epic battle sequence. It was so much fun, so much fun. And it's because of the movies like that, like this, that led into marketing for kids. Who remembers the Aliens action figure line that they came out with, like in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s? For an adult franchise to market action figures to kids, I thought that was the funniest thing ever, and I'll never forget that. And it was because of those action figures that we also got a lot of variations of aliens, which really played very well into Alien 3, directed by David Lynch, or Alien to the Third Power, as I like to call it. Now, in time, this Alien movie has grown on me. I learned to appreciate it more and more, but I remember when I first saw it, I really didn't like it. But I've learned to appreciate it, and I've learned to accept that this is a pretty decent inclusion into, my opinion, the Alien trilogy. So I would put this as a B tier. Not that great, but it grew on me in time, and it still has a very deserved spot within the trilogy of Alien movies. And then Alien Resurrection came out, and I don't know what the fuck they were going on. What was going on here? This was just bizarro. I think, in my opinion, this may be one of the worst Alien films. So I may give it a D tier there. All of a sudden, Sigourney Weaver is a clone. So Ripley's a clone. And we see like a clone daughter or something. It's so batshit crazy that I've forgotten most of it. I've seen it once, and I never wanted to see it again. It's just so bad. It's a horrible movie. And it sucked because at that time we were thinking, oh, this is probably going to be the last Alien movie that we'll ever get. And now I know why, because this was a train wreck of a movie. It just sucked. It blew. But years later, like I said, they played on the fandom and they gave us something that a lot of fans were kind of speculating, were kind of fanboying out on, we're kind of hoping that we would eventually get, and that is Alien versus Predator. It's schlocky, it's hokey, it kind of questions the whole beginning and lore of aliens, the xenomorphs, and the predators, dating back to like Egyptian time. It was so bizarre, but it was that hokey, schlocky kind of sci-fi action film that you would expect when this came out. This came out like in the late 90s or so, maybe early 2000s. So I would probably give this a C. Because, you know, it's everything as a fan of Aliens and a fan of Predator that you are really hoping to see. Right? And it gave it to us. And then we got AVP 2. Or AVP, whatever they call it. Up your ass. AVP, blow me. And it went all downhill again after that. So I would probably put AVP as a D tier. Because that was, again, it's just like Alien Resurrection. I saw it once, and I just wanted to immediately forget it. Because it was just terrible. It was so bad. So bad. So Alien Resurrection is slightly better than that. And I give it kudos because it does have Sigourney Weaver coming back. And it has Winona Ryder in there. But that's it. That's the only kudos I could ever give it. I know the actor who played Bishop came back too. Really weirdly. You know. But I think, yeah, the second AVP movie definitely goes behind Alien Resurrection. Then Ridley Scott is back, and he's like, I want to revisit the Alien franchise. And this time, I want to go way back in the past. Going way, way, way back. And let me tell stories about how everything kind of started. Right? How these creators came about, and how it eventually gave us the xenomorphs that we're familiar with now. Right? And how it kind of ties into the first Alien movie with their discovery. I believe the Covenant was the one that kind of did that for us. So I appreciated the lore that Ridley Scott was really trying to build on here. But the execution, I think, was kind of questionable. But they weren't terrible movies, to say the least. But it wasn't the Alien movies that I think I wanted or I was hoping to get. And I think a lot of fans also were kind of thrown back by it. But they're not bad movies. So Prometheus, I would give it a B. Right behind Alien 3. But it's not a movie that I would ever really go back normally or usually to rewatch or anything like that. Now that I've seen Alien Romulus, it may deserve a rewatch for sure. Just to kind of go over some of the things that kind of came out in this new movie. But I remember that well enough that I don't need to like revisit it so right away, like immediately. And then we have Alien Covenant. And like I said, this is more of a lead into what we are used to or what we were introduced to in the first Alien movie. I didn't like it so much. It was okay. But again, I didn't like that we were still in the past. Right? I believe this is the one that also has who is that? I'm trying to think of his name right. David Fassbender, right? Michael Fassbender, sorry. Fassbender as like the android, right? And he basically took over most of this movie at the end. So it was okay. I would probably give this C, but it would be ahead of Alien versus Predator. You know, and again, it was a reminder that we are in a weird spot with the Alien franchise. That maybe for a lot of people, they would say that we haven't gotten a good, decent Alien movie since Alien 3. You know, because you had Alien Resurrection, Alien versus Predator, Alien versus Predator 2, Prometheus, and then Alien Covenant, right? And I think a lot of people are just giving up on the franchise as a whole, or they're still hoping that there is a chance that we could see more. Hold on, guys. I'm going to fix something here. I just realized that for some reason, I'm just fixing the screen for vertical viewers because it looks off. And I apologize if it is off in a way. So there we go. I think that looks better. Okay. Yeah. Now this brings us to Alien Romulus. And Alien Romulus, like I said, it's a great return to the franchise. It's a great callback and throwback to the original first two Alien movies. Fede Alvarez did a really good job with this movie. I think this is the type of movie, this type of tone, the type of action that people who are like die-hard Alien fans were hoping for. Bringing it back to like a horror element, but also mixing in the thrilling sci-fi adventure to it. Everything that you liked from the Ridley Scott Alien and the James Cameron Aliens, you got here. And Fede tried his best to kind of put his own spin. And I guess in a way, his own spin was the third act of the spin. But I thought this was a really good movie, and this deserves to be in the A tier. And this is how I would rank, personally, the Alien franchise movies. So you have Alien, Aliens, Alien Romulus, Alien 3. Then you have Prometheus, Alien Covenant, Alien v Predator, Alien Resurrection, and then AVP2. 9 movies in the Alien franchise. Will we get a 10th? I hope so, because I really liked what we saw in Alien Romulus, and I think it would be great if we were able to get a 10th one. And if we get Fede back to direct it, I think that would be interesting and cool. There's a part of me that is still wondering how the Neil Blomkamp Alien movie would have been, since he was planning to write a sequel movie to Aliens, right? Where a lot of things pick up from that movie. You get to see like what is that? The characters who survived at the end of Aliens still together in a way, right? So and I remember seeing a lot of the concept art that he did for that proposal. And then Ridley Scott put the kibosh on it. It was just like, nope, I'm going to come back to Aliens and do my own movies. So thanks for trying, Neil, but I'm going to do my own. And that's what gave us the Prometheus movies and all that. So yeah, so that's my ranking of the Alien movies. I'm curious to hear what you guys think and your thoughts and how you would rank the Alien movies and which is your favorite Alien movie out of everyone. Because, Alien is such a fun franchise, and I'm glad to see it kind of back into prominence. Just back into the forefront, back into the conversation. And I think it deserves to be back in that conversation. All right, reminder, there is a poll in the chat. Let us know if Alien Romulus is a movie you're planning on watching. Also, if you're watching on the live stream, don't forget, hit that like button. Everyone here will greatly, greatly appreciate it. Just like how I appreciate all of you out there. So, and don't hesitate. You could easily chime in on the chat. The rest of the stream is going to be full on Alien Romulus conversation. We're gonna get into spoilers in a little bit. So, get ready, strap in. It's going to be a fun but bumpy ride. So. Just catching up on some messages. I hope everyone's also having a great day today. Let me know in the chat how your day is going and how your week is going. And if you have any fun plans for the weekend. I'm going to a wedding tomorrow. A very, very good friend of mine is getting married tomorrow, and I can't wait. It should be a fun evening of celebrations. And then more than likely, I'll be really hungover on Sunday, and I'm going to be very unproductive. Probably not going to do anything. I'm probably going to veg out on the couch and do nothing. And I'm okay with that. I think every now and then you deserve a day just where you just bullshit and don't do anything. You know? All right. I'm very thirsty today. I'm not sure why. Before we go into spoilers territory here, I just want to check Twix real quick. I want to see if there's any interesting headlines that's dropped recently. This is interesting news here. What the hell is this? All right, I'm saving this. That sounds crazy. Oh, here's some interesting tidbits here. Neon's Long Legs from director Osgood Perkins and starring Nicolas Cage and Micah Monroe has crossed the 100 million global box office mark. That's a big accomplishment for that movie. Well deserved, in my opinion. Let's see. No crazy headlines. A lot of bullshit posts. Well, I don't want to say bullshit posts, but just nothing worth really talking about. Oh, for those of you who are interested, Furiosa is now streaming on Max. So if you haven't seen that movie yet, make sure you check it out. Oh, this sucks to hear. Isabella Merced says Last of Us co-star Caitlin Dever needed extra security on the Last of Us set due to fan hate. What the hell's wrong with people? I'm telling you, there's certain fandoms that are just so rabid. So toxic. So annoying. Oh, look at that. David Dastmalchian is writing his own comic book. Good for him. That's pretty cool. Alright. I don't think there's any... Oh, and of course, officially, and I'll talk about this more on Monday. I called it. I knew this was going to happen. I knew that by the end of the week, Deadpool and Wolverine was going to end up becoming the #1 top-grossing R-rated movie globally of all time. And it finally did that. So it finally beat out Joker. So I'm not surprised by that. I kind of knew that was going to happen. So congratulations to Deadpool and Wolverine there. Let's see. Shannon Doherty's mom. Continue her podcast. Warner Brothers is just suffering so much financially. Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars has a song out. That's interesting. Think what not think, but it's a slow news day. I think the Beau DeMayo stuff is what really kind of led into this day's worth of news. All right, I do want to talk about this real quick because I find this piece of news extremely fascinating, and very much out of nowhere. I don't think any of us were really expecting to hear such news like this come out at any time. This blows my mind right now. Skydance, Jurassic World Scribe, Derek Connolly tackling Sega's Eternal Champions. What? Are you serious? Eternal Champions? A game that Sega released back in 1993. So Derek Connolly, the franchise scribe, whose work includes the Jurassic World movies, has been tapped to write a live-action adaptation of Sega video game Eternal Champions for Skydance. David Ellison, Dana Goldberg, and Don Granger will produce for Skydance, while Toru Nakahara, who has overseen the adaptation of Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, will produce for the video game producer. Oh, damn it. Now I keep hearing the song in my head. Give me a minute, guys. Freaking annoying. Again, for a piece of software that a lot of streamers use, it's such a buggy piece of software. All right. Just give me... All right. I think I'm good to go now. All right. Originally released in 1993, Eternal Champions was a fighting game that Sega developed and published for Sega Genesis console. The concept, bear with us, was thus. In order to change the dire fate of Earth, a being known as the Eternal Champion marshals the souls of key humans from across history, people who were destined for greatness but died before fulfilling their promise. The individuals are thrown into a contest of champions, with the winner regaining their life and becoming the hero Earth needs in order to restore balance, while the others return to moments before their death. Wow. I mean, I remember playing this game. I remember hating this game. But I never really understood what the whole storyline was of the game, so it's good to know now. The game was praised for its characters, which were a multitude ranging from Blade, a Syrian bounty hunter from 2030 AD, and Larson, a cat burglar in the 1920s, to Slash, a hunter from 50,000 BC, to Jeddah, who's a Russian noble woman masquerading as an acrobat at the turn of the 20th century. Are these like the character definitions you would see if they came out with like trading cards of themselves? So you would go in the back of the trading card, it'll give you the brief history of each character. Rob Ree, credited with bringing Skydance and Sega together on the project, is executive producing. Amy Rivera will oversee the project for Skydance. Connolly broke through when he co-wrote Safety Not Guaranteed with Colin Trevorrow, earning an Independent Spirit Award for Best First Screenplay in 2013 and the Waldo Salt Screenwriting Award at Sundance 2012. Since then, he has gained a reputation as a go-to scribe for franchises, be they dino-centric or lightsaber-wielding. He worked with Trevorrow on Jurassic World, the 2015 movie that rebooted the Dino franchise and made $1.67 billion worldwide, and 2018's entry, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Along the way, he earned credits on Legendary's MonsterVerse entry, Kong Skull Island, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, and 2019's Detective Pikachu. More recently, he worked on Sony and Nintendo's adaptation of classic video game The Legend of Zelda, which has Wes Ball on board to direct, and is coming off of working on Paramount's untitled Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie project that is to star Chris Hemsworth. Wow, this guy has been writing a lot of these like really major IP scripts. I wonder if they're really moving forward with his script for Legend of Zelda. But I didn't know he also wrote for Detective Pikachu and Rise of Skywalker and this G.I. Joe Transformers movie. Wow, that's so fascinating. He is repped by... Okay, yeah, we don't care about his representation. Wow, good for him. But why an Eternal Champions game? I mean, what a movie. Sorry. I don't understand that. That is so bizarre. I mean, first of all, who remembers this game? And who remembers it so fondly that they would want to actually see a movie made out of it? This screams very much Mortal Kombat. Like back in the 90s when they announced that they were making a movie based off of Mortal Kombat. First of all, I said, well, it's kind of a no-brainer because they're trying to ride off of the success of the video game right now. So it doesn't surprise me that Hollywood has tapped in and they want to like make money off of this phenom, right? It started with Street Fighter, right? When they did that originally, I think. But you know, they got big stars for that. In Mortal Kombat, was the biggest star they could get was like David Carradine at the time or whatever. But Eternal Champions is so out of left field for them to be working on a movie based off of this game is so extremely fascinating. I just don't understand how that came about, but wow. And again, it should be stated that he's penning a script. They didn't say that they're actually going into production anytime soon. So this could be one of those things that may end up in development hell for a while. You know, if they can't get the script right or if they can't get the proper funding correctly, who knows? But yeah, that is still very interesting piece of news to say. And I don't know. I don't know how that will turn out, but it is definitely going to be extremely interesting. Oh, man. All right. Let's go back into our topic of conversation here for Alien Romulus. And let's talk spoilers. Because I definitely want to talk about a lot of the things that they did right in this movie. And a lot of things that maybe, or not a lot, but some things that maybe I may question. But I think it will be a fun time to really talk spoilers of this movie. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, that's why I put there up on the screen or in front of you, spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled on Alien Romulus, I'm sorry. I hate to see you go, but I understand. Hopefully you can come back some other time, or you can bookmark this so that when you do watch the movie, you could eventually come back and hear my recapping of the movie and what I really liked about the movie. All right? I'll give you a couple seconds to decide what your fate is as I drink some more of my LaCroix. That is one tasty beverage. Oh, wait, before I do that, I have to do something real quick. Sorry. Let me just do this real quick, because if I don't, I'm going to be angry at myself. Give me one second, guys. Hey, I'll play some music. Almost done, guys. Just give me 1 second. Sorry. Almost done. Almost there. almost there. I am sorry. Almost there. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I have to step out for a little bit. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. All right, guys, I am back. Apologies. I just had to, I got a reminder that I had to take care of something personally right away. So I wanted to make sure I did that before I forgot. Because when you get to be my age, sometimes you can easily forget things. And that's why you set up reminders for yourself. So I do apologize. But I am back. And I'm ready to talk spoilers for Alien Romulus right now. Like I said before, the minute you see the spoilers tag on the screen, all bets are off. So if you've seen the movie and you want to chat about it in the comments, in the chat, have at it. Let's have some conversations. Let me know what your favorite moments are from the movie. And I'll tell you, my favorite moments, what I liked, maybe what I didn't like. But I'm just going to recap the movie and talk about it because it is definitely a movie worth talking about. So one of the things that I really like about this movie that they did from the beginning was that it gave us a little bit more context and more details of what these mining colonies look like. So first of all, we're shown that in very Weyland-Yutani type of way, the corporation that we all have learned to love and hate, right? But they have found a way to capture something in space, and they're running tests on it. And from what it looks like they were able to capture a fossilized xenomorph or something that was encapsulated in some sort of space debris, right? You could see the outline in the little thing that they captured from space, and immediately you're like, oh boy, this corporation's up to no good again, right? So fast forward, we are now introduced to Kaylee Spaney's character and the colony that she lives in. It is established that actor David Johnson, who plays Andy, Kaylee Spaney's character is Rain. Rain and Andy are siblings, even though, are they really brother and sister? But that is what we're led to believe, right? And they live and work on a mining colony. Now, we've heard of mining colonies in previous Alien movies, but we have never had a chance to really see it functioning. We've seen abandoned mining colonies, you know, that took place in like Aliens, right? And communities and all those things like that. What they're mining is exactly really kind of unknown. It's resources and stuff for the Wayland company, for the big corporation and all that. But they're contracted to mine for several amount of years before their until their contract or their hours allotted have been run out, and they get to travel to another destination. And most of the time, they just want to go back home from the planet or system that they came from. So here we see Kaylee is going to the offices to give in her paperwork and say, hey, I've already accomplished and completed my contract terms. Here is my paperwork, my request to go to another system. And I want to see the sunrise again. Like, I want to see daylight, because apparently on this planet that they're on, there is very little sunlight at all. I think there's zero sunlight. It's like complete darkness. So think of Alaska, but all year round, right? And it's a mining colony, right? So you could tell the lady behind the screen is very sketchy and, you know, all those things. And she's like, unfortunately, your request is denied because of recent changes to the system. You're now required to do this amount of hours versus what you were previously told. So you'll be able to request another transfer in about 3 or 5 years from now. And of course, she's upset and all that. And then Andy was waiting for her outside. And we could see that Andy has an issue. He has like a nervous tic. He's not very, you know, with it and all that. And, you know, Rain is playing a very concerned sister, always minding him and caring for him. And then he's getting picked on, and now he's getting beat up from some random kids outside. And she runs out, and he's having what looks like a seizure. We've seen this type of activity before in the Alien franchise, and lo and behold, it is what we thought it was. Andy is an android. So Andy is the android brother to Rain. And this makes perfect sense now, because now we get the idea that, okay, Andy was probably part of the family for a long time. And for whatever reason, Andy was assigned to kind of be like her caretaker, kind of like make sure that Rain is okay. And they are, in turn, brother and sister, right? So, of course, Rain is upset and depressed that she can't leave the planet. She'll never get to see the sun, right? So she goes and meets up with some friends after she receives a message from one of them. These are friends you could tell that she hung out with for a while. They probably did some mining jobs together. And it's also, you're led to believe that it's been a very long time since they've seen each other. Plus, you're also led to believe that there's some sort of romantic connection maybe between her and the main guy that called her. I believe the guy's name is Tyler or something like that, right? So it was within this moment that they have this plan. They're like, we're never going to be able to leave here legally. But we found out that there's like a derelict ship orbiting the planet. What if we went there and we hijacked the ship and then get ourselves out of here? And Rain is like, wow, this is a crazy idea. I don't know how the hell you're going to figure all that stuff out. It's like, trust us. It's going to be easy. We need your help, mainly because we need Andy. Because Andy's an android and he could speak to Mother. That is like the first reference that we got from the previous Alien movies. The Mother system is still very much active. And if you remember, Mother is the computer system that they talked to in the first Alien movie. I think they kind of briefly talked to this computer system in Aliens, right? But Mother is still a functioning system because it is run by the corporation. And Andy is the only one that can really communicate with this system. So Rain is like, I don't know. I feel like you're just using me for Andy. I don't know if Andy's up to it. Andy's like, I will do whatever it takes to make sure that Rain, you, is being taken care of. And if it means having to do this so that we could all get out of here, I'm going to do it. And she's like, all right, I guess we're doing this. And you could tell now, you could start learning a little bit about the dynamics of the group here. You have the main guy, Tyler, who has this like little connection with Rain. You have their friend Bjorn, who's like kind of like a loose cannon, who has a relationship with Navarro, who is the pilot of the ship, the Asian lady you've seen in the trailers. You can tell that there's some sort of connection bond there. You can also tell that Bjorn kind of doesn't like Andy for some reason. Later on, we come to find out that he doesn't like androids in general because it was an android that locked his parents out in a mine when some toxic flames or fumes were escaping. And in order to save the majority, he had to sacrifice the minority that were still trapped in that room. And he's never forgiven androids for that. So he has like this chip on his shoulder about all that. And then you have Kay. Kay is played by Isabel Merced, who is the sister to Tyler. And we come to find out that she's pregnant. And she doesn't want Tyler to know. But that's another reason why her motivation is to escape this planet, because she wants to be able to raise her baby in an environment where you could be freer. You get to see the sky. You get to see the sun. So everyone here, you understand very fast that they all have their reasons to get out of here. What I also love about this is very similar to the first Alien movie, is that we have a very small cast of characters here. Very tiny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 characters in total. Aliens, it went up more because you're dealing with the Marines in this case. But I love that we're working with such a small crew. I love it. It makes things more intimate. It helps with the character building. It helps with like understanding the motivation, all those things, right? So they go up in space and they find that the derelict ship is not a ship. It's more of like a space station that you can pilot and all that stuff. But what they're looking for in the space station are the hibernation chambers that they could bring onto their own ship and they could utilize so that they could go into cryo sleep. And then it allows them to do the traveling, which will take, I believe, 6 years to go to the planet that they want to go to, right? So they go on board this thing. They see that it was a functioning like research lab, you know, discovery lab, almost to a certain point where it almost looked like a museum. And there are 2 sections. There's Romulus and there's, I forgot what the other reference was. It's all biblical, mythological type of references, right? And then they finally come to the point where they find the cryo chambers, but it doesn't have enough fuel. So they're able to jettison the chambers to the ship. They caught it. They're now on the ship, but they're in search for new fuel to allow them to sleep the needed amount of years for them to make a safe journey, right? They found a location on the ship, on the station that has additional fuel. And then they go, and then this is where stuff goes crazy. Where they find the fuel, where the fuel is, they see that some sort of weird mishap happened in this lab. You see on the floor an android that is brutally destroyed, cut in half, very similar to what we've seen also in the first couple of Alien movies. So in a way, that's like a nice little throwback in itself. And we just see like things are broken, all this stuff like that. And then where they need to go get this fuel is in this weird kind of chamber that has some water in it and all this stuff like that. They go in, and it's Tyler, Bjorn, and Andy. They get locked in because there's some sort of auto lock mechanism whenever something goes wrong in this chamber. Because when they pulled out one of the fuel cells, it caused like this kind of weird, like not explosion, but kind of blowback of freon or whatever is used for the cryo stuff. And that caused an alert for the room. It shut the doors down and they can't get out. Andy doesn't have the security protocols of the station because he was never assigned to that station. So they're in trouble. So now Rain is panicking, right? You have Navarro who's panicking, and Kay's like sleeping. Yeah, she's like exhausted because she's preggers. So Rain and Navarro, they both go into the station to try to free up, you know, these guys. And Rain has the clever idea that, well, the android on the floor is not functioning body-wise. But if I can get to his chip, I can insert that chip into Andy, and Andy will now have all the necessary protocols of the station, and he could like potentially open up the door and all that. So she attempts to take the chip out, gives it to the guys inside. They put the chip in him, and then Andy's going through a reboot sequence. This is where we also find out that for some reason, as part of whatever was triggered, the temperature in the room is now increasing. And then now we get to see that there's a lot of these things on the walls. And it looks like they were incubating face huggers. Now, the one thing that this movie never made clear was that they never explained how they came about all of these face huggers to begin with. You don't see any eggs anywhere, right? So it's a question is, how did they come across all of these face huggers? Did they clone them? Who knows, right? It's not something that was very made clear. But in this one room alone, they have at least what looks like 50 of them. And they're all slowly starting to not come alive, but they're getting unfrozen, I guess. They're getting removed out of stasis. And you can see the temperature is rising because each pod has like a temperature gauge. And slowly, these things are coming alive. And Annie's in a reboot sequence. And like you see in the trailer, they finally come out one by one, and they're swimming around, and they start attacking the crew in there, right? Annie finally wakes up. He has now the protocol in his mind, is able to open up the doors. They run out of there. Leads to this amazing chase scene with all the face huggers. And they were able to escape, but with one exception. And one of the face huggers latched onto Navarro, which again, we saw in the trailers and all that. And they're trying to figure out how to get this thing off her. Very typical stuff like we saw in the previous Alien movies. You can't touch it because it's going to continually choke its victim. And it's, you know, all that stuff. I love also what they did here, and you've seen this also in the trailers, that it's the first time that we actually get to see the face hugger, how they actually latch onto someone's face and how they insert that thing inside of the person's body. We never really got to see clear visions of that in previous movies. I love that Fetty was very detailed about how all this stuff happens. And it's freaking phenomenal. So Andy, because he's now in his mind has the chip of the other android that's on the floor, kind of understands some of the stuff that's happening on the base, but not everything. So he warns everyone, don't touch the thing. It's going to end up killing its host. I just don't know how we can remove it. Well, they said, well, what if we shock it? Or what if we freeze the tail so that when it gets frozen, it will loosen its grip and they can like yank this thing off of her. And say, well, maybe that's a possibility. And then while they're trying to figure that out, he looks at the android on the floor and he starts propping it up and he wants to have a conversation with this thing. This is Easter egg, what, number 3 or so? What's going on, Tiny G? Nice to see you again, as always, in the vertical chat. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good day. I am talking Alien Romulus spoilers, so hopefully you don't mind that. But I'm just giving my whole spiel on the movie and recapping some of the things I liked and didn't like about it. So, as he's propping up this android, you start seeing that he's having a conversation because he wants to learn more about what's happening on this ship, right? And by the way, they were able to like, loosen up the grip and they ripped this thing off of her face, right? And they were able to kind of like, I guess, kill it in a way. It is revealed now that this android is the same model that we saw in Alien, the Ian Holm model. Now, my only problem with this portion is that they did like a deep fake on whoever was portraying Ian Holm, and it was very obvious. It was kind of bad. And when I alluded to earlier that this movie didn't use a lot of CG, this is the one moment that CG was utilized that you could tell right away, and it was kind of distracting. It was very annoying. But this version, this Android version, has the very same tone. What's going on? Tiny G says first day of school. Oh wow, it's kind of early, isn't it, for school to start in August? But I hope you had a good day at school, and hopefully I'll get to catch you again later on. Just out of curiosity, Tiny G, where are you located? Because here in New York, school doesn't start this early. So I do find it interesting. But I know like every state is different, so. So it was really like interesting to see Ian Holmes' Android show up. And like I said, very same type of personality, very same type of tone and all that. What's going on, Caleb? Nice to see you back here, chiming in on the Vertical stream. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good time. And I hope you don't mind me talking about Alien Romulus. But we start to learn more and more about what exactly is happening here on this research station, right? And this is where we get to see all the little things tied together as far as timeline, as far as what they're trying to do on the ship, and what the involvement is with Ian Holmes's Android, right? So this is where we like to find out that ever since the incidents of the Nostromo, they've been searching for the jettisoned alien. They knew everything that was happening. Everything was chronicled. Everything was documented. So they knew that there was an alien that was jettisoned into space. And then the Nostromo ended up where it eventually ended up 50 so years later on in the future, right? Or they, at this current time, because this is 2 decades now, they said they've been looking for this alien. So they don't know where the ship is at this moment. It's still probably lost somewhere. Or they do know, but they're not trying to get it and help her because she almost ruined the corporation's plans and all that. That is still dubious stuff. And we all know that this corporation is very dubious to begin with. But we know that for 2 years, they've been looking, 2 decades, so 20 years, they've been looking for this jettison alien. And you could see in one of the computer screens, you see the guy from Alien who was infested with, who got the face hugger attached to them, who eventually gave birth to the alien that was causing havoc on the Nostromo. So you get to see the actor's face in this one little screen. So again, you put it all together. It's like, oh, okay, and all that. And then at one point, they were like I said, we saw this in the beginning of the movie. They got this asteroid or this rock where they carved out and looked like it was like a fossil of an alien. Apparently, this alien came to life and maybe caused havoc on the ship. Because you look up and in the ceiling, you see an alien, a dead alien, hanging out. Looked like it crashed through the ceiling or something. Still has the damn hook from the first Alien movie in him, or in it, that, you know, Ripley shot at it to like push it out of the airlock and into space. And again, it all ties to the first Alien movie. So Easter egg throwback, all that stuff, right? And he said, you know, we've been trying to get these aliens because we want to do experiments on them. We want to see how we can improve on life, because the human body is very fragile. You know, diseases, bad weather situations can really put harm so easily on the human body. But these xenomorphs have been proven to be like the perfect creature. And we want to learn from these creatures. We want to extract their blood and all that, do experiments to see what we can do and what we can take away in order to improve on the human species. And since we failed and you guys are here now, you can help us with the rest of the experiment. And everyone's just like, hell no, man. We need to get the hell out of here. Like, we're done. You know, poor girl got her latched on. We don't know what's happening to her. The android, Ian, I'm just going to call him Ian, android, is not saying much of anything. He's like, she may be okay, but your chances are pretty low, like that. But at the same time, he wants to save a certain piece of research that is on the ship. So he's instructing Andy to go find this thing and bring it on the ship with them so they can get out, because this whole thing is deserted, it's broken down, plus it's on a crash course to collide with the ring of the planet that it's close to, that they're on, that is like, it's like Saturn. And if you know, the rings of Saturn has all of these asteroids and rocks and all those things, and it has a one-way ticket to be destroyed because it's going to crash in like 40 hours or so, right? So Andy's programming has changed a little bit. And this is what I was alluding to before. It's like this character who we love, but we may start to hate because now he's having the protocols of the company and the corporation in him. So he agrees, yes, we should escape. But in efforts to kind of preserve whatever they're doing here, and maybe if we bring this back to the planet, it will look good in our favor, and then maybe we could finally get granted voyage or release to go to another planet that we want to go to. So they're trying to find where this thing is, right? But at the same time, you have half of the other crew trying to go back to their ship. And what we find out is that, look, Navarro goes back to the ship. She's all panicky. She feels weird that what happened. And this is the one thing, another problem I have. It seems like the amount of time between ingestion and birth in all the recent movies have been quickened. Because it feels like in Alien and in Aliens, it takes a long time for these aliens to incubate, right? But here it happens like in a matter of like minutes. It's so fast. So I don't know if there's an evolution, but it seems to happen really fast. And I get it. You want to move the story along, so you can't just like prolong things, right? So I get that. So you move forward, and the thing is busting out of her chest. It's getting ready to. And Isabel Merced's Kay is on the ship because she was sleeping. And she's like, oh no, what's happening? Oh, I don't know what to do. And unfortunately, the thing busts out. Bjorn goes to the ship, sees what's happening. Like, oh my God, what's happening now? He falls, he gets hurt, right? And then this thing grows up really fast too. And like I said, in recent iterations of the Alien movies, these things grow up so quick. So first thing, takes the guy out. Obviously, the other body is already dead. And just like aliens do, they harvest these bodies. So the only one who's left on the ship is Kay. And because all this stuff was happening, there was an incident where during the struggle, the thrust was accidentally, the throttle stick was pushed. So the ship is like going into spiraling out of space and eventually ends up crash landing inside of the hangar of the station that they're in. So you thought they were out, but they're not out. Now they're all come back. And then everyone who's still on the station has to go and save them, while they're also still trying to save the canister or whatever the thing is. So they get to a point where Kay is like, oh my God, I'm trying to run away from this crazy looking alien thing. And sees a door, and she sees her brother. It's like, get me out of here, get me out of here. And you know, they're like, Andy, open the door. And Andy like hesitates, like, oh, no, wait. If I open this door, the alien's waiting for me to open the door, and he's gonna come in and get us. And you could kind of see like in the other side, like the alien's just waiting. He's just like hovering, just like waiting to see what happens. While Kay's like, get me out of here, get me out of here. And they're begging and pleading. It's like, please, that's my sister. And then Kaylee Spaney, Rain's her character, is like, she's pregnant. And of course, this drives Tyler crazy. Like, what? She's pregnant? Oh, you have to save her. But Andy's like, nah, I can't. It's going to put us in danger. It's going to put the mission in danger. We can't do this. So Kay, unfortunately, eventually gets sliced in the body and pulled away, never to be seen again, as far as we know, right? And then this is where we get to see the new Andy. It's like, I am now working for the company, and I have to do what's right for the company. So they go and look for this canister, and it's explained what's in this canister. And again, what I alluded to before, if you watched all the previous movies, including Prometheus and Covenant, you get a good payoff here. The black goo that you're all familiar with from those movies comes back into play here. It's like we have come up with an idea that we can inject into bodies or experiment with bodies that can make us the perfect being. Look what we did with this rat. See how this rat is dead? We injected it with this blue goo or black goo, and it came back to life. So we need to save this experiment because it could help humanity. So they get this thing and they got to go because they got to leave before this other alien finds them somewhere. Right? And because of like the crazy ship crashing, it allowed those face huggers to spread around the station. So it's time to act in haste. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go. And this is another part of the movie that I love. And you could tell this whole time the Ian android is just shady and very evil, keeping secrets. Like he's like, yes, yes. He's like the Palpatine of the movie. Yes, get the experiments. You will bring it back on the ship. Yes, yes. He like taunts you. He taunts them like in the video monitor. It's so funny. But they have to go through this one corridor in order to get back to the ship. And the portion of the corridor is filled with facehuggers. Like just filled. Caleb saying, I feel like this experimentation storyline is a setup for Alien Resurrection and the clone of Ripley. Kinda. Yeah. Kinda. The timeline, though, is kind of odd because, like I said, the timeline, this movie takes place in between Alien and Aliens. So you could tell, like, the corporation, Weyland, they are definitely onto a lot of things here. And their experiments and their research definitely had led to what happened eventually in Resurrection, for sure. So I guess we're kind of seeing like some of the precursor stuff in that, right? But another thing that we also saw before they get into this corridor is that, oh, they didn't watch the full video of exactly what happened to the rat. And I think Ian the android purposely didn't show them the rest of the video footage because we get to see that, yeah, the rat was able to still, live. But in time, it eventually morphed into this crazy, absurd, the thing-like kind of creature, an abomination, right? So it's not exactly foolproof, this thing. But they don't know that. So in order to try to get through this corridor with all of these facehuggers, it's like, well, they're attracted to heat temperatures, right? So if we increase the temperature of the room to match our body heat, and if we remain quiet, then we could slowly escape and walk our way out of here and all this stuff like that. And I'm just recapping stuff, not necessarily in time order, because there's something that does happen during this moment that kind of throws things out of proportion. But as they're trying to escape, they got the temperature raised, they go through. That's when Kay is calling them on the comms. She's like, oh, this alien. This was all before all that stuff. And it's drawing attention to these facehuggers. And, they're like, okay, we got to run. And they get chased through corridors and corridors with all of these facehuggers chasing them. And this was so much fun. This is such a fun, thrilling moment in this movie. But fast forward. So what really ends up happening here is, again, the corporation, the company, is trying so hard to protect their assets. And Rain and Andy are trying their darndest to just get back to the ship so they can get out with whatever friends they have left. Kay's missing. They don't know what's happening with Bjorn. And they don't know what's happening with Navarro. Right? But they do know there's a crazy alien running around. There's a bunch of these little facehuggers running around. And they need to get out of Dodge. So Andy's like, all right, our only way out of here is that we have to fight our way out. Maybe in certain cases. But we have to be prepared. So how good are you guys with guns? And this is where we get introduced to the pulse rifles for the very first time. And you could tell that this is a different iteration of the pulse rifles. And again, you're hearing a lot of the Easter eggs and callbacks to these movies. Since this timeline is in between the first and second Alien movie, we don't get the plethora of weaponry that we saw the Colonel Marines has in Aliens. But we get to see a version of the pulse rifle that has auto-targeting. I feel like this is like a callback, maybe a reference to the video games. Like Alien what's that, the 360 game that you could play now? I feel like they had something like this in there, where, and this whole scene was very similar to like the whole scene with Ripley and is it Hicks? I forget the guy's name, the army guy's name, the Marine name, who survived at the end of Aliens, but he's teaching her how to use the gun, you know. And it's like, all right, you gotta the strap goes here, this goes here, this is your ammo count here, and this has a special programming that is like auto aim and how it could snap. You just have to be in the vicinity and aiming at the vicinity, and it snaps and it snaps and it snaps. Very much like auto aiming in video games. And she's like, well, how do you know all these things? And it's like, oh, magazines and games. So it's like a throwback to like the video game, right? And this comes into play definitely in the movie because they get to this point where they're faced with a decision that they have to make. Either go forward through what looks like an infestation of aliens, because you have the corridor all gooked up in the alien stuff, or trying to find an alternate route. But what's that? What did I hear? Is that Kay? She's still alive. So Tyler books it through the corridor, and they're like, oh no, this idiot. So they chase after him. They see Kay's like, you know, very much like Newt was, like in the wall. So they're trying to get her out. And the minute they do, uh-oh, here comes the aliens. And it looks like it's more than just one. This station has an army of xenomorphs. And not to mention, they're all hanging out with their buddies, the little facehugger guys. And they heard all this ruckus, and they're like, hey, we need to investigate. It's like, uh-oh, we need to get the hell out of here. So they try their best to run out. Unfortunately, Tyler gets jacked, scooped up by one of these xenomorphs. But they still got Kay. And then Annie gets knocked down by one of the aliens. And now he's going through his little android seizure fit. And then we have another elevator situation, which is, again, a nice throwback to Aliens. And you have Rain and Kay in the elevator. They're able to escape, but they're leaving people behind. And at this point, you knew, oh, there's going to be a change here. There's going to be a change of plans. Emergency stop. Kay, take this canister. Get back to the ship and prep it for our escape. I have to go back for Andy. It's like, what? Are you crazy? I said, don't worry, I'll find a way. So she climbs out of the elevator. Elevator keeps going up. Works her way back down. And this screams like Aliens. Like when Ripley had to go back for Newt and she encountered the Queen Alien, right? This very much is very similar to that situation. She goes back. She could hear the rumblings of aliens around her, but they're not aware of her yet. Goes back to Andy. Andy's having his fit. And she's like, I need to access your chip. Because if I don't, there's no way I can reboot you. And, you know, Andy still has the corporate mentality in there. And he's like, all right, fine, go. She takes the chip out, reboots him. Andy's back. Our Andy. Not the company Andy. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, don't stop. Let's just get out of here. And then they get out, but they find themselves kind of caught up in a situation where there's no advancing because all the portals that they're trying to get out of is locked. And guess who has control of everything? Freaking in-home android guy. And he's taunting them on the TV screen. Where he's like, I would love to help you, but honestly, that's not the best interest of the company. Blah, blah, blah. And that famous line that he says in Alien to Ripley. Oh my God, what is that line? I need to find that line again. He uses it in this situation. Alien quotes. Ian Holmes. let's see. I have to, because he has this great quote. While I'm looking this up, Cuphead says, Alien Romulus, where do you think it is going to go for more films? I think at this point, it would be very interesting to see if they can explore more of the in-between between Alien and Aliens. If they are going to continue with this character, with Rain, I think it would be fun to see where they eventually end up. And the side effect too, right? Because you have, let's see. Well, we'll get to the ending in a little bit. But she basically solidified herself as like the new Ripley in a way. So it'll be really interesting to see if they can continue her storyline in between, leading up into the Aliens movie that we're familiar with. Cuphead's also saying my favorite part is when the alien caught main character with tail and main girl fall off the ladder. Yeah, that happens. That happens in the elevator, right? So we'll get to that in a minute. But let's see. I'm just trying to look here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Because it happens. Let's see. Dallas is the name of the captain. Let's see. There's an article here that talks about Easter eggs. Let's see. Wayland Yutani still sucks. Yes, we know that. They still love Reebok shoes. Yeah, I love how the main characters are using Reebok shoes, just like how Ripley did and some of the other crew did in the first Alien movie. I love that. Oh, Ash is the name of his alien counterpart in the first Alien movie. So let me look up Ash quotes. Alien Ash quotes. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. So as they're trying to struggle, to trying to find a way to get out of here, right? Out of the corridor that they're in, and they're being chased by all the xenomorphs and all the face huggers. They're all coming out of the woodwork, right? They're all being chased, but at the same time, they don't want to just blindly fire at them because they were warned earlier that these aliens have acid for blood, and if they just go willy-nilly firing on these aliens, the acid is going to eventually eat through the hull of the station, causing a ripple effect that will blow out the airlock, and everyone will get sucked out into space. And obviously they don't want that to happen, right? So they're trying to figure things out. But Ian Holmes, this new android, is taunting them. It's like, I can't let you get out of there. It'll be against the company's best interest and all that. And he says the famous line that Ash said in Alien, whereas I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies. I was just like, oh, this motherfucker, no way. I was like, get out of here. I was like, oh man, that was awesome. That was truly awesome. So Rain and Andy think they're at the end, right? There's no escape. But then all of a sudden it occurs to her that, oh, the gravity. Because there was some like little thing that happened when they first went on the ship, on the station, where the anti-gravity system would reset itself every so often. So things will be like no gravity, and then the the gravity thing will be on, so everyone can walk around. So she's like, they turned it off because it was driving them nuts, throwing them up and down the whole time. She tries to turn it back on. While they're doing all this, on the ship, Kay made it back, and she's just like sitting back and trying to rest. And you have good old Ian Holmes again, freaking this android speaking to her through the speaker. It's like, hey, I'm glad you're safe. Why don't you hit the remote control, the remote button, so I can take over the ship and I can pilot us out of here? And she's like, who are you? He's like, I'm a friend. It's like, look at this little dirty guy, this bastard, right? So they figured out how to turn on the anti-gravity thing. All of a sudden, you start seeing the alien, the xenomorphs, like floating in the air, and that's when Kaylee Spaney goes to town. Rain just buckles in, and I love this like duo combination because she was about to flow away, and then Annie's like, hold on, holds her down, and she just points and shoots. Auto target, have your way. Aliens' heads are exploding, face huggers are dying, everything, all the acid blood is all floating into the atmosphere. It's not dropping down, so it's just floating there. It's like, and Andy is behind us, like watching the ammo count: 50%, 40%, 30%. There are a lot of freaking aliens. She was able to shoot them all down, but we still need to make our way back through that corridor with all the alien acid blood. So it becomes like this is like a throwback to like Superman 64, where you have to like fly through the rings. So I feel like she's now flying through the rings of acid blood and all that. It's kind of silly, but it led to a lot of kind of thrilling, exciting moments. And I bought it. I was all in for it, right? So she floats through the rings, and they're able to finally escape just in time, so that when they get back on the ship, the anti-gravity kicked in or turned off. All the blood splashes down the floor. Everything's getting eaten away. All of this craziness happening, right? Get back on the ship. Kay's still okay. And she's like, I'm glad you guys are back. And, you still have Ian Holmes freaking taunting them in the screen. It's like, no, don't. You gotta go back to the planet. It's like, no, we're not going back to the planet. We're getting ourselves out of here. We got enough fuel now for these cryo chambers. We're gonna carry through our original plan and get the fuck out of here. And then she kind of throws back the same line at him, and I thought that was like a nice little FU to the Ian Holm character, because now the ship is crashing into the rings of the planet, and it's slowly deteriorating and exploding and all that stuff. So you think now, okay, Andy, Rain, and Kay, they're all back. They got fuel in the cryo chamber. They also got whatever this blood is, right? And they're going to make it away scot-free. And they put Kay into the cryo chamber. And this is where the third act kicks in, that threw everyone nuts online. Before I get into that and go back to the chat, what's going on, Fall of the 11th? Nice. I think you're the first time I've seen you here on the stream. Nice to see you. Love the movie. Which part are we talking on? The acid blood scene? Yeah, we just talked about that. Kevin Davis back. Always a pleasure. Either Realm box office total run prediction 300 to 400 million. I think you're good with that. I think opening weekend it's going to do 50. I'm guessing around 50 million. There was a good amount of people at my theater last night for this movie. So, but the Alien franchise has fallen out of favor with a lot of people, so I don't know if a lot of people trust this movie to be good. But I think word of mouth is going to help it. So I'm guessing 50 million, but I like your 300, 400. Is that domestic or global? Let me know. Fall of the 11th also says, I really loved how they integrated the black goo from Prometheus. Yeah, I just mentioned that. I talked about that before. Focusing on its ability to forcefully evolve to change the organism and how Weyland wants to use that for their own gain. Loved it. Yeah, that's why I said, when I was talking about this movie from the beginning, you get a nice payoff if you actually watched Prometheus and Covenant, those movies in the past. So it's really nice that, Fetty did a good job at tying in all the Ridley Scott Alien movies and the Cameron movie to its advantage in the storytelling here. So I love how they did all that. Very, very I loved it very much. This Inferno, timing it on the vertical. Why Weyland Yutani wanted Xenos in Aliens if they already had it in Romulus with Big Chap? Because, as we found out, all the experiments got destroyed. So, and I'll talk about all that in a little bit. Marvel Cuphead says, Conquer Bad Fur Day plush toy. Can you show us, please? That's my favorite rated M video game. Sure. I'm glad that you got to see it behind me. That is definitely one of my favorite things. I'll in a little bit. When I'm done with my recap, I'll pull it out and you can see. I'll pull it out. Oops, wrong button. Kevin Davis, the global box office will be 300 to 400. Domestic box office is 150 to 200. I like that. Yeah, I like that range. I tend to agree with you in that range set for sure. All right, so let's kick it into the third act here. The bizarre act, the crazy twist. If you remember in Alien, the big surprise was, oh, surprise, you're not in the clear. The alien made it on the ship with you guys. Now what are you going to do? The big twist in Aliens was, I can't leave Newt alone. I have to go rescue her. Rescue her, and then you find out, uh-oh, there's a queen alien laying eggs. And if we don't take care of this situation, these guys will never go away. So this leads to the giant confrontation, right? And which leads the queen alien to chase them down up until the very end. And you have that big, big confrontation, right? So what is going to be the big, big thing here? Well, remember Kay's pregnant. So all of a sudden, there's activity in her cryo chamber. They open it up and they see that she's having like a bad reaction. They look at her around her neck. Uh-oh! It looks like a face hugger got to her. Uh-oh. So that means, and I knew this. When I saw this, I was like, I guarantee you something's going to happen to her baby. And now her stomach is really big. So, however this happened, is that the face hugger got into her. Or no, actually, no, wait a minute. No, this is exactly what happened. It wasn't the face hugger that got her. She injected herself with the blood, with the black goo, right? And that's what kind of helps her kind of, I guess, survive as she got on the ship, because she was like in bad shape, right? Fall of the 11th, let me see. Also, can you do a Romulus sequel that even brings back David and ties up that stuff? For me, I really want to see these prequels or interquels. Yeah, when I started the stream, I was calling this the prequel sequel or the sequel prequel. The creation of Alien Queen from Aliens. Also, did you speak about the scene with the facehuggers in the cryo packs of the wall? There's a 3D printer or some kind of machine that looks like it's creating facehuggers without the use of an egg. I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was one of my confusions in the movie. It's like, how did they get across? How did they come across all of these facehuggers? Because there's no eggs around. So I was assuming that maybe they were cloning them. So I like that you kind of helped me with that. So that's it. And yeah, so she injects herself with the black goo, and the black goo is come by with, yes. Okay, thank you so much for that. Because because they looked at her neck and she had the injection there, right? Because when she got on the ship, she heard that this was supposed to help her, because they were like contemplating injecting her on the station versus just rushing her back to the ship and putting her in the cryo chamber right away. So she thought that, and she's like, all right, let me do that, and it'll help me survive and all that. So that, yes, the black goo intertwined with her fetus, and now she gives birth like quickly. It like shoots out of her in a very gory and violent way. Plus, I should mention that out of all of the Alien movies, this has definitely been one of the more gory, visually gory films. Fede Alvarez is good for that. We already know what he's done with Evil Dead, right? And I was thinking to myself, okay, first of all, I knew something was going to be up with this baby. What? I don't know. But there's definitely going to be like a weird hybrid. And I remember talking about back in the day, in the early 90s, they came out with these action figures, alien action figures that they were marketing to kids. And each alien had like a different form, a gorilla form, a dog form, a cheetah form, or something like that. Because it was told to us, like, especially because of Alien 3, the baby alien that comes out of you will take shape, or it'll take traits off of their host, right? So that's why when it impregnated itself in the dog in Alien 3, it acted like a dog. It was very fast and very predatory and all that stuff like that. So I was thinking, okay, what's going to happen here? There's going to be some sort of weird mix, right? Yeah, Fall of the remembers all that. The crocodile xenomorph, the rhino xenomorphs. Yeah, I remember all that stuff. And I love how they explain all that. And also, Fall of the 11 says there's a machine in the forehand. When it's panning across the red room and foreground, you see a machine that looks like a 3D printer. I guess when I watch this for the second time, I have to pay attention because that will be awesome. Going back to the vertical chat, I think the reason why this thing looked like engineer, it's because humans were created from engineers' DNA, and that's just another confirmation of it. Black goo returned humans' DNA back to engineers. This egg where Xeno Engineer was born looks like an egg from the Alien 79 poster. Yeah, that's a good call to that too. It does look very familiar to like the cracked egg that we got in the trailer too. If you remember like the early trailer of Alien, that was one of the teases that they had. Like it was just like an egg, the shape of an egg and a crack or something like that, which eventually became the movie poster too. So yeah, so we get this egg and this egg's opening up and we see it looks like a baby, like a regular human baby, right? But obviously it's not a regular human baby. So we get into a point where obviously Kaylee is trying to get rid of this thing. So she thinks of like, oh, maybe I could like freeze this thing or whatever. Finds the machine. Now she's like a Ghostbuster. She looks like she's running around like with an ectopack. And this thing goes back and makes itself known to the mother, who is on the floor, like just thrown back of what happened here. This thing shot out of me like a freaking cannon. And then this is where we get to see it is this hybrid of xenomorph, engineer, human hybrid. It's extremely tall, lanky, whitish, kind of weird amalgamation of just monstrosity. And I saw this and I was like, whoa. And I remember whispering to myself, I'm like, well, that's a choice. That's definitely a choice. I wasn't expecting it to go this way. But you know what? I'm in. Show me what this is going to be like. So you could see like this thing going towards Kay, because I guess it recognizes that it's his mother, right? But when the time when Rain comes back, she's dead because this guy is eating her up, sucking her juices or whatever the case is. And this thing has its own little tongue with a mouth on it. And now it becomes like, how the hell am I going to fight this thing? So very similarly to like what we've seen, she finds a way to kind of blow this thing out, right? Thinking like, well, we could drop the cargo. I'll trap it in the cargo, drop it. We're crash landing towards this damn ring of this planet, so eventually we'll just destroy it, right? I'll hook myself up to this thing, and it'll yank me into safety. Well, obviously that didn't work out that way. So there's a huge fight and battle. A hole is blown into the cargo because all things are happening wrong. And we think Rain is going to catch it. At one point, we thought that the hybrid alien got blown out of the atmosphere, but it didn't, or out of the hole. Comes back very horrifically, still hanging on to dear life. Got its leg or whatever hooked into the side of the ship. This is one of the moments of the film that I thought the sound design and the special effects were done so well. Because as she's struggling to figure out how to fight things off, right? You hear like her perspective and her point of view. It's mostly silent, which really is the case if you were in that situation, right? But I love how she was able to figure out that her rope was latched on or close to the last remaining hook to release his cargo. She finally does that. Everything gets dropped into space. She still is hooked onto this thing. She makes her way out, right? And not only do we see in the distance the station getting demolished with all the research on it, all the experiments on it, all that stuff on it is totally destroyed. But now this new hybrid xenomorph / engineer is being wiped out into space, into the rings of this planet. And she finally makes her way back up, right? And very similar to like Ripley does at the end of the Alien movie and Aliens movie, you know, where she has her little diary. She does her whole like little spew, like I'm the last remaining member of this ship, whatever. Right? She's in cryo. Andy's in cryo. There's no pet this time, but I guess Andy's kind of like the pet, right? Kind of like the cat in this situation. And then that's it. We don't know where they're going. They're supposed to be going to this planet that she's been wanting to go to for a while so she could see the sunrise, right? But that's how the movie ends. And yeah, like I said it before, you could argue that this is very much a rehash of the first two Aliens movies. But who cares? It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was very entertaining. And if anything, I thought Fede Alvarez did a lot of respectful things that pays homages to Ridley Scott's creation and James Cameron's Aliens, right? I love how he utilized the story bits of this and that and Prometheus and Covenant and brought things into this to make everything make perfect sense. You know, I love the little callbacks, the Easter eggs. I love the things that I missed that like Fall of the 11th was able to pull out. He said like, yeah, it killed Kay by breastfeeding on her. Also, Fall of the 11th said, I think because the black goo was extracted from the xenomorph that Weyland captured, and because David created the xenomorph from the black goo, it stands to reason that it would contain engineered DNA. That's a great way to put it. Let's see. Disinferno saying, let's see. Oh yeah, this thing where Rain tried to make a hole with acid was a nice callback to Resurrection's finale. Yes, absolutely. This movie just had a lot of nice little callbacks, homages to everything, you know. And in a way, it ended in a very bittersweet ending. Very much how you felt about like the first Alien movie, and very much how you felt about, well, I feel like the ending of James Cameron's Aliens was a little bit more hopeful, right? But the first one, I mean, the first one is like a horror movie. So it's like it ended in like a very sour note. But still, she survived. But you don't know what the hell's going to happen to her, right? And very much like how it is here. We don't know how Rain is going to survive after all this. Fall of the 11th says, for me, the most hilarious thing was that the reviewer, Grace Randolph, oh boy, yeah, I know her, trying to say there was an obvious romantic relationship between Ray and Andy. Like, bruh, she's basically the older... Yeah, what? That makes no sense to me. It was such a sibling relationship they had there. That is so silly. Well, she's interesting. She's a very interesting person. They're going to Yaga. Is it Yaga Vaga? But yeah, so if there is to be a follow-up to this movie, I would assume maybe we could find ourselves at that planet. And knowing how things happen in this universe, something maybe is still on that ship that is dubious, right? That is not supposed to be there, that the company is like looking after. And it's like, you know what? We'll let them go there and then we'll pick things up on that planet. Who knows? Or if you're going to tie this into Aliens, maybe she ends up, or there's a course correction, and she ends up on the colony planet that the aliens, Colonel Marines, go to find all of this stuff out. Maybe. And then maybe we can kind of see how it all started on that planet. And hopefully they could get Kaylee Spady back, because I think she did a really good job in this. Vaga, okay. Disinferno also said, definitely was sad when it ended because I wanted a continuation of the story. Yeah, it was fascinating. It really was fascinating. And like I said, this is one of the better Alien movies that we've gotten. You know, even though Prometheus had its thing, Covenant had its thing, it wasn't the Aliens movie. It wasn't the Alien movie that I personally wanted, you know. But it did add to the lore. And I love how this was like a nice throwback to the horror, the action, the thrilling, the suspense that the first two Aliens provided for us. You know, so I loved it. I also forgot to mention, and Cuphead, this is my fault. His favorite scene was in the elevator shaft, right? That moment where they're trying to escape the aliens because of the whole gravity thing, and all of these aliens are chasing after them in the elevator, and you know, Rain is flying up to Andy, and Andy's like, I got you, and then, you know, the gravity thing kicks in and she falls down. And why did the one xenomorph save her? That was kind of weird, right? But maybe it's thinking, oh, I can have another host for another baby or something like that. But then they have like this whole thing, and Andy like was able to capture the elevator before it collapsed, releases it, and then he does like the hero saver thing where he jumps down, grabs the gun, and starts firing down at the alien that was about to like kill or whatever to Rain. Crash lands on top of the elevator, smashes his head. He does the line, you know, stay away from her, you bitch. So good. It was so good. That got a big pop out of the audience last night, for sure. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. I was getting a little hoarse there for a minute. Fall of the 11th saying, and for me, I think the sequel for Romulus should introduce David. Maybe have him reconnected back with Wayland, since both him and Wayland want to experiment with the black goo and to create life. Fall also says, I think it was attempting to capture her to use her for the hive, since the xenomorphs in this movie tended to capture people for breeding more than straight up killing them. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured too. Yeah. It just, at that moment, I was like, well, why would you, you know, she killed off all your brothers and whatever, all your kin, all your relatives, all your brethren. And why would you save her? But yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah. This Inferno says Rain and Andy are great additions to the great characters in the Alien franchise. This movie had very grim and depressing moments, but at the same time, it's really sweet to have genuine connection. Cuphead says, Alien Romulus, are you going to watch over and over again when it comes to Disney Plus? This is the kind of movie, honestly, I can't wait once it just hits digital. The moment it hits digital, I'm going to be rewatching it. I may actually go back to the theater and rewatch it anyway, because I think I really enjoyed this movie. I want to see the things I've missed, like Fall of the 11th mentioned. I want to see, again, the only thing that wasn't very clear to me was how did they keep recreating those face huggers? And I kind of want to see that. But also, it's just a fun movie in general. And yes, Rain and Andy are great characters. Kaylee and David had amazing chemistry between the two. Definitely no romantic relationship between them. I think Grace Randolph is smoking something major. Maybe she should put less eyeliner on her eyes. Fall of the 11th. I'm curious what the TV series being produced by Ridley will be like, since it takes place 30 years before Alien and is around the same time frame as Prometheus. Yeah. What is it called? Alien something? It's coming out on Hulu, right? I'm looking forward to that too. And with Ridley being involved, I hope it's going to be a good one. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. It's been a long time since I enjoyed an Aliens movie. And I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of the franchise, then this is going to be a movie you're really going to enjoy. By the way, for everyone watching live, please don't forget, hit that like button. All of us would greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it, because I appreciate all of you watching and commenting and this great conversations. I love this conversations that I'm having with you guys. Alien Earth, it's called. Yeah, it's supposed to focus on Wayland Utani, or Utani. Is it Utani? Utini. As a newly... Oh, it's going to be the first beginnings of Wayland. Oh, that's going to be fun. I'm all for that. Alien Romulus was a fun experience in IMAX theater with a loud sounds. Yeah, I didn't see it in IMAX, but I saw it in RPX. Funny story. RPX, my theater last night, the AC was broken. So I was like dreading. I was like, oh no, don't tell me I'm going to have to sit through this like muck and stuff. It actually wasn't that bad. It was, I guess it just shortly broke down before my showing. So it still felt like there was cool air in there. Luckily for us here in New York, it wasn't so hot last night. Switching between cool, naive Andy was a callback to Fassbender's performance in Covenant and relationship between Rain and Andy. It's like David and Shaw. I have to watch those movies again because I don't really remember in fine detail those relationships. But I liked it. It worked for me. Congratulations, Cahill, for your amazing comment. Fall of the 11th, yeah, they say it's about Wayland before they became the heartless corporate company we know them as. Ooh. Companies start for good, turn evil. I like it. I like it. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I've been saying for a long time that they needed to take a break from the movies and just do a series. So build on the lore more, right? And create some sort of series. So it'll be interesting to see what they can come up with there. Also, as a reminder to everyone watching, there is a poll in the chat. Let us know if you're planning on watching Alien Romulus. Hopefully I didn't spoil anything for you guys still wanting to watch it. But it is what it is. All right. So earlier in the stream, I did rank my movies. I'm curious now in the chat for those of you who are here. How would you rank Alien Romulus in all of the Alien movies? Fall of the 11th says, I'd love an AVP series from the perspective of the Colonel Marines. That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. I also love how this was like a precursor to what we saw in Aliens. The whole pulse rifle, you know, the auto targeting. I think that's a callback to the video game, if I remember correctly. I just love all that. You know, I love how we got to see what eventually became Aliens, or what we would later transfer over to Aliens, right? So I love all that stuff. Oh, and Cuphead, for you, I didn't forget. Let me grab Conquer here. He's still in its bag. I've never taken him out, so I'll take him out for now so you guys can see it. This is also one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games. I think, in my opinion, it's my only favorite Nintendo 64 game. It was just a fun game, great character, great lines. This is like, it's almost like a first-time unboxing of Conquer. Fall of the 11th saying probably Aliens, then Alien, then Romulus, then Alien 3, Resurrection, and then the AVP movies. That doesn't sound too different from my ranking. I'll share my ranking in a little bit. I still have it up. So here it is. Here is good old Conquer with his little crown. He talks. So I think, I love he has his little shoes on. He's wearing his hoodie. He got his tail and everything. I know he talks. I need to figure that out. Let's see. Maybe I have to turn something on. What's going on, Ficon? I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. Aliens film Conquer had a cameo in game. Well, didn't they do an alien reference in the game? Right? I felt like they did, didn't they? Oh, I don't know how to work this thing. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to... There's some sort of battery situation involved in here. Hold on. I'll try to figure it out. Is this a tab? I don't know when I got this. I got this for a while. I got this a while ago. And I never messed around with it until now. Ficon's doing well. I'm doing good. Doing good. Just been busy. You know, busy with some life stuff and while still maintaining the stream. We just talked about the new Alien Romulus movie. Oh, while I do this, here, I can share on the screen. Here is my ranking of the Alien movies there. So for me, it will always be Alien as the number one. Then Aliens. Romulus comes in third, sorry. Then I would say Alien 3. Then Prometheus. And then, what is that? This is the box, by the way, that's in Conquer. Then Covenant, AVP, Resurrection, and then AVP2. So for me, Resurrection just didn't hit me the way I was hoping it would back when I saw it in the day. I should probably revisit it one time, but I remember just being really thrown off by it. All right, so I think the battery that's in this is dead, unfortunately. I'm trying to see if I could open this thing. I need a screwdriver, which I don't have handy on me right now. So you know what? I'll figure this out for another time, Cuphead, and then we could play around with this guy. So I'll put a new battery in this, and then in the next stream, we'll have some fun with Conquer. But that is Conquer right there. What's up, you motherfuckers? Who's got some beer? So that is Conquer. All right, Conquer. Why don't you hang out somewhere? Hang out over here for now. All right. Just behave. Behave yourself. Don't do anything stupid. All right. I'll take the spoiler tag off of the screen. This Inferno, sorry. It's hard for me to rank Romulus, probably better than Alien 3 and Resurrection. I don't know if I'd like it better than Prometheus or Covenant. Alien and Aliens are still untouchable in their opinion, and I agree. Ficon saying school has started for me, though, so that's a bit stressful. Okay. Well, that's always the case, isn't it? Every time you start like a new semester. So hopefully it's not going to be that bad. It can only get better from here. Cuphead saying Conquer Bad Fur Day. Why didn't we get a cartoon film by DreamWorks? That would be amazing. Could you imagine if they actually did a Conquer, like a Conquer's Bad Fur Day animation or something? That would be nuts. I would love it. But that would be kind of crazy. Ficon, are you planning on watching Alien Romulus? Sorry, I'm just checking my messages real quick. I'm probably going to stream for another 10 more minutes, so feel free. We could use this time to talk about anything. I still can't believe they're planning to do a movie based off of Eternal Champions. That's just so... It's just so bizarre. Maybe Ficon says. Are you a fan of any of the Alien movies? Cuphead says Conquer Bad Fur Day would like to see me do a playthrough on the channel. I remember, what is this? Probably back in 2021, I did a playthrough of Conker's Bad Fur Day on Twitch, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was on Twitch. And I was playing the Xbox 360 version. And I remember I got stuck at a point and I never went back to it. So I might do that. That could be a fun thing. Because like, I mentioned this before, like I'm in the process of like the next couple months going to be kind of hectic because I'm like moving, and I'm going to be setting up all my old retro consoles so that I can stream games off of them. So maybe what I could do is I could stream off of my original Nintendo 64 and my Conker's cart, and I could do a stream of that. Ficon said, I bought a moped yesterday, and that is so fun, but I haven't took my license yet, so I can't drive all the time. Well, congratulations on your moped. That sounds fun. I've never ridden in a moped before. Ficon also saying, never watched Alien. Oh, wow. I think that could be a very interesting first watch for you, Ficon. Start with the very first Alien movie. I don't know, do you like kind of like horror suspense type movies? Are you a fan of those type of movies? Because if you are, I think the first Alien movie could be very worth a watch for you, especially since it'll be your first time. I think that could be very fun and exciting. And then Aliens, the movie directed by James Cameron, is also fun. But that's more like alien sci-fi. That's like sci-fi action adventure type of movie. You love horror. So yeah, then Alien is definitely a movie you should watch. The first Alien, directed by Ridley Scott. I remember because it's this year, it's celebrating its 45th anniversary, I think it is. And because of that, they re-released it in theaters. And I watched it in the theater for the first time because I've always watched it at home. And it still holds up today. It's still a great watch. Marvel Cuphead said, Alien Romulus, I didn't find scary. I just found it cool and exciting. Yeah, there were moments for me that I thought was kind of like suspenseful and kind of creepy. You know, like I said, the best part was that one part with them trying to quietly walk through the room. Like that was very anxiety filled. Yeah, Ficon, you should give it a shot. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And if you are, you could come back, catch me on stream, and yell at me. Say, how dare you recommend such a bullshit movie? That's perfectly fine. Your moped tops 75 km, where the legal limit is 45. Oh, wow. It's like you got a rocket. But that's awesome. It's always fun to be able to do something new like that, you know, especially when it helps you get from A to B as far as like transportation goes. I think that's always a lot of fun. All right, guys, I would say like maybe like 5 more minutes before I call it. I didn't realize it was already almost 7:30 today. I mean, it's 7:30 right now, I should say. I do have some things I need to do. Especially I have to figure out how to fix this box. I just hope there isn't a battery in here already that might be corroded. That would suck. But I'll figure it out. I'll find out. So what's everyone doing this weekend? Anyone have any fun, interesting plans? Anyone watching anything cool or playing any cool games this weekend? Or now, maybe? Cuphead, that's exactly one of the reasons why I had to stop with Funko Pops, because it got to the point where I just have no more room, and it was becoming more of like an obsession, and I had to stop. I had to stop myself from doing it. So I am officially, or I've been officially retired from collecting Funko Pops for a while now. So only planned Sunday. My favorite football team, Gaius, is playing. Also, season ticket holder, so I go to every game. Oh, that's great. Well, I hope you have fun on Sunday then. That sounds fun. I've been trying to go to, because we're wrapping up baseball season here. And I haven't, what I usually do at least once a year or once a season, I go to a game. And I haven't had a chance to go this time. So I hope I could still try to catch one of the last games before the season ends, but it's looking kind of doubtful right now. I do have a wedding to go to tomorrow. A very good close friend of mine getting married, so I'm excited for that. So I'm excited for that, and I'm not so much excited for the hangover I'm going to have on Sunday, because when we go out, when we party, we party. Cuphead's playing Fortnite new Marvel Battle Pass. Awesome. I hope you have fun with that. Again, I've never played Fortnite, so, you know, who knows? Maybe I might. Oh, I should say this now before I forget. Next Wednesday, the 21st, I'm going to be doing a full 12-hour stream to celebrate achieving 10,000 subscribers on the channel. This was something that I've been planning for a while. So come join the stream on Wednesday. I want to play games with you guys. So we'll be doing some Jackbox, maybe murder mystery trivia. We'll do some of that. I'm thinking of maybe playing some games for the first time. I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's, so maybe that could be the day I play it for the first time. Maybe I'll play some Fortnite for the first time. Yeah, and then maybe I can play with you, Cuphead, or whoever else is around. You could teach me the ropes, maybe. Maybe. We'll see. But it'll just be like a fun 12-hour chill stream, just us hanging out, doing random things. We could talk about anything. If there are any new trailers that come out, I'll be reacting to those things. So, yeah, celebrating 10,000 subscribers on the channel. So next Wednesday, 12-hour stream, starting around... what's a good time? I'll just start around 3 p.m. Eastern time. Because I think that'll be good enough. So, yeah. So I wanted to just announce that before I forget. Because I used to love Fortnite, but now it feels the same. It does not feel the same anymore. What do you think changed, Ficon? All right, last chance too for everyone watching live. If you haven't cast your vote yet, cast your vote. Let us know if you're planning on watching Alien Romulus. Also, don't forget, hit that like button. Would greatly appreciate it, everybody. Cuphead's leaving for the day. Cuphead, always a pleasure. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and you have a great weekend. I will catch you next time. Like I said, I don't even know maybe the map and weapons and stuff, but I like competitive though. Okay. It reminds me of one of the reasons why I stopped Overwatch. I used to play Overwatch a lot, but then I just stopped because I felt like it was just too repetitive for me. So I kind of lost interest after a while. Ficon, your best placement is 3,700, which is pretty good. Cool. That's awesome. I feel like my days of like these competitive online shooters are way behind me. I will never recapture the glory days I had when I used to play Unreal Tournament back in the day. Like I used to rank very high on that back in the day, long time ago. But I remember having a lot of fun with those games. Lots of fun with those games. All right, everybody. I think now is a good time for me to wrap things up. So I already shut down the polls, but it looks like, at least here on the traditional horizontal stream, 66% says yes, they are planning on watching Alien Romulus. 33% says no. I'm just waiting for the vertical stream poll to refresh itself before I recap what the results are there. Icon said, yeah, repetitive is the right word. When you play the game so much, you sooner or later get bored. Yeah, that is true. And that's why those games, they're always so good for like the first couple of months. Like a great example is Helldivers 2. Me and my friends, when Helldivers 2 came out, we all loved it. But we played it every day, multiple hours a day, to the point where we killed that game. Then after like a month, I would say, we just slowly started getting sick and tired of it, you know, and we kind of had to try to find something new. And now occasionally we will go back to it, but it's just, you know, when you don't have enough content like refreshing itself or new things being introduced, it just gets too repetitive. And it's just like, why are we wasting our time when we could try to do something different, you know? Well, thank you, Ficon. I hope you have, and it's very late night for you now, right? Where you are. Yeah, right now for me, it is 7:36 p.m. where I am. So it is nighttime for me. And like I said, I do have to catch up on some things on my side. So I'd love to stay longer, but I can't. 1:36 a.m. Okay, that's what I thought. There's like a 6-hour difference, I think, between you and I. So yeah, so I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope you have a great weekend. Just to recap real quick on the vertical stream, the poll there, 80%, 80% says yes, 20% says no as far as planning to watch Alien Romulus. So for those of you who are planning to watch Alien Romulus this weekend, I hope you have a fun time at the theater, at the cinema. I hope you enjoy the movie. If not, I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you liked it, I would love to hear your thoughts as well. The next time, I'll be back live again on Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, going over the box office results. Where does Alien Romulus fall? I think Alien Romulus will claim the #1 spot this weekend because everyone has already seen Deadpool and Wolverine once, twice, 3 times. So I think Deadpool and Wolverine may fall to second, but we'll see. But I think Alien Romulus has a good shot of at least doing 50 million this weekend. We'll see what happens. But I'll recapping that. I'll be reviewing some of the stuff I've watched recently. I wasn't able to review the new Watchmen Chapter 1 animated movie that came out. I'll talk about that on Monday. And the new series Tales of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that is streaming on Paramount. I would have finished watching that by the time on Monday, so I'll talk about that series too. And any other movie I plan to check out over the weekend. So I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. Quickly, let me just shout out everyone like Ficon, the fall of the 11th. Pleasure having you on stream. Appreciate the conversation. Kevin Davis, always appreciate you coming by. Cuphead, always a pleasure in the vertical. Disinferno, great conversation today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Caleb Richardson, always happy to see you pop up. Tiny G, always a pleasure. Avanish Vishal, Gorilla Fantasy, always pleasure seeing you guys around. Scorched, always a pleasure seeing you as well. Again, I wish all of you a wonderful weekend. Have a great rest of your day. What music should I close out? Let's do Fester's Quest. Until next time, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. I will catch all of you next Monday. Or this Monday. This upcoming Monday. Well, you know what I mean. All right, bye, everybody. Peace.